Across deserts, mountains, and ancient plains, colossal structures rise, silent witnesses to civilizations that defy time. Some align with the stars, some carved from a single stone, all challenging what we think humans could achieve. Tonight we uncover 23 of the world's greatest megalithic mysteries, revealing lost knowledge, engineering feats, and secrets almost forgotten by history. And if you subscribe now, each chapter brings you closer to the hidden genius of our ancestors, unlocking mysteries few have ever seen. The unfinished colossus of Naxos. On the Greek island of Naxos, the sun rises over silent marble hills, and the wind hums through the ancient quarries like a whisper from another age. It's here, hidden among olive trees and scattered stones, that a sleeping giant lies face up, half-formed, half-forgotten, carved directly into the mountain that once gave birth to gods. They call it the Kouros of Naxos, an enormous statue abandoned before completion, a monument to ambition, skill, and mystery. The Kouros stretches more than 6 meters long, cut from a single slab of marble so pure it glows under sunlight. Its features are only half defined, a human form emerging from the earth, as if the sculptor stopped mid-breath and never returned. For centuries no one knew why it was left this way. The simple explanation was that it cracked, a craftsman's misfortune. But when geologists inspected it closely, they found something strange. The break was too precise, too clean. Not the jagged tear of an accident, but something deliberate, as though the carving was stopped on purpose. Naxos was one of the centers of the Cycladic civilization, long before classical Greece rose to power. Its marble quarries fed temples across the Aegean. The people here were not primitive stonemasons, they were master engineers of the ancient world. They built temples aligned with the stars, and carved statues of gods, so perfect they defied the limits of their tools. But this one, the Colossus, was something else. It was far larger than any human statue of its time, rivaling even the earliest Egyptian attempts at monument building. And yet there are no written records of who commissioned it, or why it was abandoned. Archaeologists say it was carved sometime around 600 BC, but others believe it could be older, much older. The stone itself dates back hundreds of millions of years, but the techniques used to shape it hint at a knowledge that may have been inherited from forgotten builders long before recorded history. On Naxos, there are other kouroi, smaller, more refined, completed statues standing near temples. But the unfinished Colossus is different. It's colossal, rough, and raw. It feels less like a sculpture, and more like an experiment, as if the builders were testing the limits of what they could do. And then, something went wrong. Perhaps the tools failed, perhaps the mountain cracked, or perhaps something happened to the builders themselves. Local legends tell of a sleeping god, who refused to rise, punishing those who disturbed his rest. Others say the workers fled after a sudden quake split the marble, but no one really knows. All we see today is a giant left frozen in time, still half merged with the rock, as if the earth itself refused to let go. What makes the story even more intriguing is how the statue was meant to be moved. This block weighs over 80 tons, heavier than a fully loaded tank. Modern cranes would struggle to lift it, yet ancient builders planned to transport it down steep hills, through narrow paths to the sea. Similar feats were done in Egypt, where massive obelisks were moved over miles of desert, and in Lebanon's Baalbek, where stones weighing over 1,000 tons were positioned with perfect precision. Could these ancient builders, separated by continents, have shared the same forgotten methods? Some theories suggest the use of rolling logs and manpower. Others propose lubricated tracks of clay, or the use of heat and water to alter the density of the stone. There are even fringe theories, ideas of sound levitation, or lost mechanical knowledge that allowed ancient people to move objects beyond their apparent capability. Whatever the truth, it's clear the builders of Naxos understood marble not just as a material, but as a living thing, something to be shaped, balanced, and respected. The unfinished Kouros stands as a bridge between myth and craft. Its proportions suggest it may have represented Apollo, the god of light, fitting for a sculpture carved from the same white marble used to build temples in his name. The island of Naxos was considered sacred to Apollo and Dionysus, both gods of transformation. And maybe that's the secret of this statue. It was meant to embody the transformation of stone into spirit, of earth into divine form. But imagine for a moment what it would have looked like finished. Standing upright at the entrance of a temple, towering above worshippers, its smooth surface reflecting sunlight like gold. It would have been one of the greatest statues of its age, a symbol of power, art, and divine presence. Instead, it lies flat, never raised, never worshipped, its story half told. When archaeologists first studied the statue in the 19th century, they found chisel marks still visible on its surface. These weren't crude hits with primitive tools, they were methodical, layered, controlled. The sculptors worked with copper and bronze chisels, but they managed precision comparable to iron. To achieve that, they must have understood how to temper metals in ways we barely recognize from that era. Across the Mediterranean, similar anomalies appear, tools and techniques that shouldn't exist for the time. Could these builders have inherited their skills from an earlier forgotten civilization, one erased by catastrophe or time? Ancient flood myths from Sumeria to Greece speak of a lost world before the Great Deluge, an age when the gods themselves walked among men. Some scholars believe that these gods may have been engineers and astronomers of a civilization wiped out thousands of years earlier, whose memory survived as myth. If that's true, then the Kouros of Naxos may not just be an unfinished statue, it could be a relic of that lost legacy. Standing before it, one can feel something almost unsettling. The scale, the precision, the sense of abandonment. It all feels intentional, as if it's still waiting for someone to finish it. The grooves along its arms suggest a specific pattern of chiseling, the same type seen in Egyptian and Assyrian quarries. It's as if the same hands, or at least the same knowledge, traveled across continents, shaping stone in the same forgotten way. Today, the statue lies surrounded by silence, its white marble slowly weathering, its edges softened by time. Tourists walk past, take photos, and move on. But those who stop long enough, who listen, swear they can feel something deeper, like the presence of something unfinished, not just in the stone, but in human history itself. It's a reminder that for every temple we've uncovered, for every artifact we've studied, there are still pieces missing, pieces that could change everything we think we know about our ancestors. The unfinished Colossus of Naxos is more than an archaeological curiosity. It's a question carved in stone, a monument to ambition and mystery, frozen in the act of creation. It asks us, what knowledge have we truly lost? What tools, what sciences, what understandings of nature have slipped through our fingers since the dawn of civilization? Maybe it's not the statue that's unfinished. Maybe it's our story. Because every giant left half carved in stone reminds us of something. That progress isn't a straight line. That history can break, just like marble. And that somewhere, buried beneath dust and time, there might still be the echoes of a forgotten age. An age when humanity reached for something greater, and almost touched the divine. The Titans of Monte Prama. On the western shores of Sardinia, where the Mediterranean sun burns gold over dry hills, a legend lay buried for nearly 3,000 years. Farmers plowing their fields near the village of Cabras struck stone and uncovered eyes, not human eyes, but carved orbs of limestone staring straight through time. They were enormous faces, broken and scattered, fragments of warriors, archers, and boxers. Unlike anything else in Europe, they became known as the Giants of Monte Prama, guardians from an age that shouldn't exist. The first pieces emerged by accident in the 1970s, torsos without heads, heads without bodies, limbs shattered into hundreds of blocks. Archaeologists who arrived on site were stunned. These were not Roman, not Greek. They belonged to the Nuragic civilization, a mysterious culture that flourished in Sardinia long before classical history began. The statues, once reassembled, stood more than 2 meters tall. They carried shields, bows, and helmets with twin crests like horns, figures both human and divine. But what truly set them apart were the eyes. 2 concentric circles drilled perfectly into stone, forming a hypnotic gaze. They looked almost mechanical, as if the sculptors understood geometry and symmetry on an advanced level. No written records survive from the Nuragic people. Their stone towers, Nuragics, still dot the island, silent sentinels over valleys and coasts. But who they were, how they built, and why they carved giants remains a mystery. Some believe they represented heroes of myth, others, ancestral spirits meant to guard tombs. And a few, the boldest voices, claim they are proof that Sardinia once hosted a civilization older and far more sophisticated than history allows. When the first complete statue was lifted from the ground, scientists realized something astonishing. The fragments were intentionally broken. They had not been toppled by time or weather. Someone in antiquity had destroyed them deliberately. Every head smashed, every torso fractured. Yet the pieces were buried carefully, as if the destroyers were also mourners. What could drive a culture to obliterate its own gods? Radiocarbon dating of the tombs beneath the statues places them around 900 BC, though some argue for centuries earlier. If true, that means they predate the earliest Greek monumental sculpture by hundreds of years. Europe's first large stone statues weren't born in Athens or Crete, they were born here, on Sardinia. Look closely and the craftsmanship tells a story. Each line of armor and muscle is simplified but exact. The carvers understood proportion. They planned with string and compass, not guesswork. Even the placement of the statues, facing the rising sun, suggests astronomical intention. They guarded a necropolis aligned with celestial markers, perhaps to guide the souls of the dead. And yet, there's something eerie about them. Those circular eyes appear again and again across the Mediterranean, on idols from the Cyclades, on Egyptian amulets, even on statues from Mesopotamia. Could these design echoes be coincidence, or traces of an ancient connection stretching across seas long before recorded trade? Some researchers now think the giants of Monte Prama were part of a ritual landscape, stone guardians set to watch over the dead and mirror the power of living rulers. Others see them as myth made real, the physical embodiment of the Sardian giants described in early Greek tales, a race of tall warriors who once ruled the islands of the West. In the museum at Cabras, restoration teams spent decades piecing them together, fragment by fragment. It was like assembling a 3D puzzle without edges. When the last statue finally stood upright in 2014, visitors described the moment as unsettling, as though something ancient had woken. Dozens of blank eyes now gaze from their pedestals, staring through glass, still guarding something we haven't yet understood. How did a Bronze Age island culture carve and move statues of such scale? The limestone used was quarried miles away. The cuts are crisp and consistent, hinting at metal tools sharper than bronze, perhaps hardened with tin, or even unknown alloys. The sculptors shaped the blocks, transported them across rocky ground and raised them vertically, without pulleys, cranes, or iron. No written plans, no blueprints, only skill passed through generations. Satellite surveys have revealed foundations of other possible giants still buried nearby. Could there be hundreds more sleeping beneath the fields? If so, the necropolis of Monte Prama might be the largest sculptural site of the entire Bronze Age world. Every new discovery pushes the story backward. Some fragments appear older than the main group. Their style is rougher, more abstract, perhaps prototypes carved centuries earlier. That raises a stunning question. Were the Titans of Monte Prama the culmination of an art that once spread across the prehistoric Mediterranean, later forgotten by all but a few island cultures? Sardinia's myths speak of ancient builders, beings of immense size and strength, who shaped the stones before men could read or write. The locals call them the Giganti. Until the 1970s, that was just folklore. Now, standing face to face with statues twice the height of a man, it doesn't feel like legend anymore. The destruction of the giants remains one of archaeology's strangest riddles. Who smashed them, and why? Was it a rival tribe, erasing the symbols of a fallen power? Was it a religious revolution, new gods demanding the silence of the old? Or did the builders themselves bury their guardians to protect them from something even greater? Whatever the truth, the giants of Monte Prama stand as both proof and paradox. Proof that advanced stoneworking existed in Europe long before classical civilization, and paradox because we still don't know where that knowledge came from, or where it went. When you walk among them today, the air feels heavy. The statues loom, not as art, but as presence. They don't smile, they don't frown, they watch. Their gaze follows you, the same unblinking circles that have stared across 3 millennia. It's impossible not to feel small, as though you've entered a temple whose faith has been forgotten. Some believe that when all the giants are unearthed, their arrangement will form a pattern, perhaps a map, or a message written in stone. Others dismiss it as coincidence. But the more we uncover, the more it feels intentional, a code left by people who understood the rhythm of stars and the weight of stone in ways we barely grasp today. Maybe these titans weren't just statues. Maybe they were monuments to memory itself, to ensure their world would never completely fade. And even though their creators vanished, the giants succeeded. 3,000 years later, we're still here, looking into their eyes, asking who built them and what they knew. The guardian lions of Amara West, one volve erased. The Nile doesn't end in Egypt. South of where the pyramids rise, beyond Aswan, the river bends and narrows into the deserts of ancient Nubia, the land of Kush. And deep within that forgotten stretch of sand lies a city half swallowed by time, Amara West. To most, it's just another ruin, crumbling mud brick walls, fragments of columns, dust and silence. But hidden among the remains are 2 enormous stone guardians, lions, carved from sandstone, scarred by wind, but still standing after more than 3,000 years. No one remembers who gave them life, but those who study them say they are not Egyptian, not entirely. They belong to a time when Egypt and Kush, 2 great powers of the Nile, collided, traded, and sometimes became one. Amara West was an outpost of empire, built by Egyptian pharaohs around 1300 BCE to control the southern frontier. But as centuries passed, the Egyptians withdrew, and the Kushites took their place. What was once an imperial fortress became a sacred city of lions, where desert gods and Nile gods met in silence. Archaeologists call them guardian lions, but no one truly knows what they guarded. Were they protectors of a temple, or markers of something more mysterious, a gateway to the underworld, or to hidden tombs still buried beneath the sand? Each lion is carved from a single block of Nubian sandstone. Their features are broad, powerful, not the sleek stylized forms of Egyptian art, but heavy, natural, almost alive. The eyes stare straight ahead, the mouths slightly open, as if about to breathe. Their claws grip the plinths they rest upon, weathered but unbroken, and between them once stood a doorway, a threshold between worlds. When archaeologists from the British Museum first excavated Amara West, they thought they were uncovering a simple administrative town, but as they dug deeper, the story changed. Beneath layers of domestic buildings and workshops, they found shrines, altars, and burial chambers, signs of ritual, not just governance. And everywhere, the lion motif repeated, painted on pottery, carved into lintels, inscribed in temple reliefs. To the Egyptians, the lion was the embodiment of Sekhmet, the fiery goddess of war and protection. To the Kushites, the lion was Apedemak, a god of kingship, fierce, divine, and creative. At Amara West, the two merged. The lions were not simply guardians, they were symbols of fusion, of an age when borders blurred and empires shared their gods. But there's another layer to their mystery. Unlike most temple guardians, the lions of Amara West face inward, not outward. Their gaze doesn't repel intruders, it seems to guard something within. What were they watching? What were they keeping safe? In the 1930s, teams documented the lions, photographed them, and shipped one to Khartoum for study. The other remained in place, half buried in its pedestal of sand. Decades later, satellite scans revealed voids beneath that very spot, hollow spaces, tunnels, perhaps chambers. Some say those chambers may hold the tombs of Kushite priests or Egyptian officials. Others believe they could conceal offerings or relics of gold and faience meant to honor the gods of both lands. But no one has dug there in full. The site is fragile, its walls crumbling faster than they can be saved. So for now, the lions keep their secrets. What makes Amara West even more intriguing is its engineering. The city was laid out with astonishing precision, grid-like streets, water channels, storage facilities, even underground cooling rooms. All of it built with a level of planning rarely seen outside Egypt's heartlands. How did a frontier city in the desert maintain such sophistication centuries after empire began to fade? Recent excavations show evidence of Nile control systems, canals that once drew water inland, feeding gardens and temples in the heart of the desert. Even after the main river changed its course, the Kushite engineers found ways to channel underground streams, sustaining life where none should exist. It's as if Amara West itself refused to die. And the lions, they seem to embody that endurance. Through the collapse of dynasties, the shifting of the river, and the silence of centuries, they still stand, unblinking. You can almost imagine what the city must have looked like in its prime. Painted walls, bustling courtyards, incense smoke curling beneath the desert sun, and two colossal lions watching it all in eternal vigil. In local legend, travelers who sleep near the ruins hear sounds at night, the low growl of something ancient beneath the sand. Of course, skeptics call it wind through the hollows, but the elders say those are the lions, still guarding what's buried below. As the desert reclaims the site year by year, the lions remain defiant, chipped, sunburned, but whole. And each sunrise, the first light of the Nile Valley catches their faces, just as it did 3 millennia ago. For a few moments each day they glow, golden, alive, and then fade back into shadow. To stand before them is to feel time collapse. You're not looking at statues, you're standing before sentinels, beings carved to remember a forgotten kingdom. Perhaps they were meant to guard the souls of the dead, perhaps the knowledge of the ancients, or perhaps they were placed to mark the threshold between what we understand and what we've yet to uncover. Because Amara West isn't just ruins, it's a reminder that Egypt was never alone. South of its borders lay civilizations just as capable, just as powerful, and just as lost to time. And the lions, still watching, still waiting, are proof that somewhere in the sands of Sudan, the old gods never truly left. The mountain palace of Masada. High above the Judean desert, where the wind scours the rock and silence reigns for miles, rises a mountain unlike any other. To the untrained eye, it's just a plateau, an isolated mesa of stone. But hidden within its sheer cliffs lies one of the most incredible feats of ancient engineering ever attempted. This is Masada, a fortress carved from the bones of the earth itself, a palace built in the sky. Nearly 2,000 years ago, King Herod the Great stood on this very ridge and looked out over the desolation below. To the west stretched the endless desert, to the east, the glimmer of the Dead Sea. Between them, this towering plateau, strategic, untouchable, eternal. It was here he chose to build his refuge, his sanctuary, and his legacy. What Herod envisioned was not just a fortress, it was a statement of power, a symbol that even in exile, he ruled the impossible. Archaeologists today still marvel at how it was done. No cranes, no modern tools, just willpower, ingenuity, and 1,000 hands hauling stone. They chiseled massive blocks from the cliffs, dragging them up steep paths that even goats struggle to climb. At the summit, engineers leveled the rock and shaped it into terraces, courtyards, and storage halls. And then, the miracle, water. In a land where rain is a rumor, Herod built an aqueduct system that funneled flash floods from distant wadis into gigantic cisterns carved deep into the mountain. Each one could hold thousands of cubic meters of water, enough to keep an entire garrison alive for years. The fact that such precision existed in the 1st century BCE still defies belief. Imagine standing atop that fortress as dawn breaks. The first light of day ignites the stone walls in gold. The desert below is silent, motionless. All that remains of the world is the whisper of the wind and the faint shimmer of the Dead Sea. And for a moment you can feel what Herod must have felt: absolute isolation, absolute control. But Masada's story does not end with Herod. Decades after his death, it became something else entirely. In 73 CE, during the Great Jewish Revolt against Rome, a band of nearly 1,000 rebels fled Jerusalem and made their last stand here. Led by Eleazar ben Yair, they turned Herod's luxurious palace into a fortress of freedom. They rebuilt the walls, stockpiled grain, and swore never to surrender. Below them, on the desert floor, 10,000 Roman soldiers surrounded the mountain. It was supposed to be an easy siege, but the defenders of Masada would not yield. The Romans constructed an enormous earthen ramp on the western side, a colossal slope of stone and dirt that rose hundreds of feet, built by captured slaves under the relentless desert sun. Even today, that ramp remains, a scar on the mountainside, visible from miles away. It took months of labor, and every night, the rebels above rained fire and arrows upon the workers below. But the Romans kept building. When the siege tower finally reached the summit, the defenders knew it was over. And yet, when the Romans breached the walls, they found silence. No resistance, no survivors, only the echo of the wind through empty halls. The rebels, rather than be taken as slaves, had chosen death. They set fire to their storehouses, gathered their families, and met their fate together. Masada became more than a fortress. It became a symbol, a monument to freedom, to defiance, and to the human spirit's refusal to be conquered. Centuries passed, and the desert reclaimed the site. The walls crumbled, the cisterns filled with sand. Masada became a name whispered in old texts, its location forgotten. It wasn't until the 1960s that archaeologists, led by Yigal Yadin, uncovered the fortress once more. What they found stunned the world. Herod's storerooms still held traces of grain. The Roman ramp still scarred the cliff. Fragments of scrolls, pottery, and human remains told a story of luxury and tragedy intertwined. And beneath the dust, they discovered something else: proof of design beyond the ordinary. Every wall, every stairway, every column of Masada was placed with mathematical precision. The layout followed solar patterns. Certain chambers aligned perfectly with sunrise on the solstice. Coincidence? Perhaps. But in a world obsessed with celestial order, maybe Herod's architects were encoding something greater: a calendar, a message, or a power we no longer understand. Some researchers even suggest that the massive cistern system worked like a hydraulic network, distributing pressure and balance throughout the mountain, a concept centuries ahead of its time. Others point to the plaster used to waterproof the walls, a mixture so advanced that modern chemists still struggle to replicate it with the same durability. Who taught these builders? How did they learn to work with such precision in such an unforgiving environment? Was it Herod's genius alone, or knowledge passed down from a civilization far older? Legends whisper that beneath the palace lies a deeper chamber, sealed since the day of the siege. Locals call it the king's tomb. Some claim it hides the archives of Herod, the blueprints of his lost projects, and records of technologies erased by time. So far, no one has found it, but the mountain still holds secrets. Every expedition uncovers new anomalies, hidden tunnels, unknown passageways, markings in languages yet to be identified. And when night falls on Masada and the desert cools, strange things happen. Visitors report hearing echoes, chanting, faint and rhythmic. Some say it's the wind passing through the stone halls. Others believe it's something older, the last song of those who refuse to surrender. Masada is not merely a ruin, it's a mirror of humanity itself. It shows us our brilliance and our brutality, our power and our pride. It reminds us that civilizations rise and fall, but stories carved in stone endure. Standing there today, with the wind howling through the ancient gates, one can almost feel the pulse of history, a heartbeat of defiance, echoing across millennia. Perhaps Herod's fortress was never just a palace. Perhaps it was a message, a monument built not to keep enemies out, but to speak across time. A reminder that even at the edge of the world, humans dreamed of immortality through architecture, and in that dream, they built something that still stands when empires have turned to dust. This is the Mountain Palace of Masada, a testament carved in stone, a mystery written in silence, and a promise that the past is never truly gone, only waiting to be rediscovered. The sky temples of Chavin de Huantar. They say the gods once spoke through the mountains, and if that's true, then the people of Chavin de Huantar were the first to listen. High in the Peruvian Andes, surrounded by valleys cloaked in mist, lies a temple complex unlike any other in the world. Chavin de Huantar, a place of stone and shadow, where sound, light, and architecture merge into something almost beyond comprehension. To the untrained eye, it is a ruin. To those who have studied it, it is a message left behind by a civilization so advanced that its methods still challenge us today. The story begins more than 3,000 years ago, long before the Incas, long before Machu Picchu. Around 1200 BCE, the builders of Chavin began shaping the valley into what would become the spiritual and ceremonial heart of an entire culture. The temple rose at the meeting of two rivers, a sacred convergence of earth and water. The people called this place the center of the world, and perhaps in their time, it truly was. Archaeologists have long wondered why this remote, high-altitude site was chosen. Why build a massive ceremonial center in a place with little fertile soil and far from major trade routes? The answer, it seems, lies in the sky. Chavin de Huantar was not simply a temple, it was an observatory, a cosmic engine carefully aligned with the sun, the solstices, and certain stars. Every shadow, every ray of light, seems to have been planned with intention, as if the builders possessed a map of the heavens written in stone. Beneath the temple, a labyrinth of tunnels stretches deep into the earth. Hundreds of meters of stone corridors twist and turn, some so narrow that only one person can pass at a time. Within these passages lie hidden chambers, altars and channels carved for water, and when water flows through them, the temple comes alive. Modern researchers have tested these underground canals. Rainwater moving through the channels creates air pressure that forces sound through vents, producing a low, resonating roar. To the ancient worshippers above, it must have sounded like the voice of the gods emerging from the earth itself. Thunder beneath the stone, wind that speaks, sound transformed into divinity. But Chavin's genius is not limited to water. The main temple, known as the Old Temple, exhibits acoustic perfection that modern architects still study. A single conch shell trumpet, called a putu-tu, can send vibrations through the entire structure. One note echoes through every hall, shifting in tone depending on direction. It seems deliberate, a carefully designed sonic experiment that manipulates human perception and evokes awe. At the heart of the temple stands its most famous relic, El Lanzon, a massive stone monolith carved with a godlike figure. Fanged, wide-eyed, surrounded by swirling serpents, it occupies a pitch-dark chamber accessible only through the maze of tunnels. When sunlight enters through carefully placed shafts, the monolith is illuminated in a way that makes it appear as though the deity itself has materialized from darkness. For the people of Chavin, this was the axis of the world, the meeting point of heaven, earth, and the underworld. For archaeologists today, it is a masterpiece of optical engineering. The placement of light and shadow throughout the temple mirrors the solar calendar, a precise system that charts the passage of the sun across the year. Who were the minds behind this creation? Chavin culture predates the Incas by over 2,000 years, yet its builders possess skills and knowledge that remain difficult to explain. The temple's stone blocks are perfectly interlocked, resistant to earthquakes, and cut with such precision that they align perfectly after millennia. Some stones weigh multiple tons, and were transported over rivers and mountains without wheels, iron, or draft animals. How they achieved such accuracy and movement of massive stones remains a profound mystery. Every wall and every corner is adorned with carvings of hybrid figures, part human, part animal. Jaguars, eagles, serpents and caimans appear in trance-like poses, their eyes wide, their fangs bared. Scholars interpret these as representations of shamanic visions, journeys into the spiritual world facilitated by hallucinogenic plants. The temple may have served as a stage for initiation rituals, immersing participants in sensory experiences designed to alter perception and connect them with divine forces. Yet the carvings also hint at knowledge of mechanics and sound. Spirals, waves, and patterns suggest awareness of vibration and resonance. Certain figures appear to wear headgear resembling breathing tubes. Could these depictions represent symbolic understandings of pressure, sound, or airflow, the same forces harnessed in the temple's water and air systems? Chavin may not have been purely spiritual, it may have been an experimental space where natural forces were studied and controlled. Acoustic studies reveal remarkable design. The main gallery resonates at frequencies of 100 to 120 Hz, nearly identical to the human male voice. Chanting and ritual sounds would amplify throughout the structure, producing vibrations that might induce trance states. Imagine standing in near darkness, surrounded by echoing chants and the roar of underground water, the stone itself seeming to breathe. For the uninitiated, it would feel as though the gods themselves were present. The drainage channels also defy explanation. Some form loops, moving water and air in controlled circuits, creating constant pressure and resonance. Could this have been intended as a primitive energy system, harnessing forces of sound, vibration, and fluid dynamics? While electricity was unknown, the builders understood natural resonance and amplification in ways that modern science is only beginning to grasp. The carvings indicate a worldview obsessed with duality, light and dark, water and stone, male and female, sky and earth. Temple axes align with these polarities, forming a grid that may even trace geomagnetic lines. Some researchers suggest Chavin was built at a point of high natural energy, amplifying these forces for ritualistic purposes. Legends speak of the Shining Ones, divine teachers descending from the sky to impart knowledge. They lived in temples where earth and heaven met. Chavin's alignment and iconography suggest it could have been such a place. Figures depicted in the carvings seem to descend from above, enveloped in light. Were these purely symbolic, or was the temple a tribute to beings that may have once visited? For decades, mainstream archaeologists called Chavin a ceremonial center, a term that reflected limited understanding. But the more we study it, the clearer it becomes. This was a machine, a structure designed to manipulate sound, water, and light, inducing altered states and connecting humans to cosmic forces. Its builders were not primitive, they were engineers, acousticians, and visionaries, thousands of years ahead of their time. Standing amid the ruins today, one can still feel its presence. The air remains cooler than the surrounding valleys, and faint hums echo through the stone passages. When rivers flood, the tunnels roar once again, as they may have for ancient worshippers. Chavin de Huantar is a reminder that human knowledge is not linear. Skills are gained, lost, and rediscovered in cycles. What we call myth may simply be history we no longer understand. And sometimes, what seems impossible is merely a story waiting for us to decode. This is the mystery of the sky temples of Chavin de Huantar, where stone became sound, and sound became legend, where architecture, nature, and belief merged into a masterpiece of ancient genius, still speaking to us across the millennia. The forgotten pyramid of Zayet, El Aryan. Hidden in the desert sands of Egypt, just a few kilometers from Giza, lies a structure long forgotten by time. It is not as famous as the Great Pyramid, nor as celebrated as the Step Pyramid of Djoser. Yet the Pyramid of Zayet El Aryan holds secrets that continue to baffle historians and archaeologists alike. Its unfinished stones, its abrupt truncation, and its mysterious inscriptions whisper of knowledge and ambition that was never fully realized. Construction began in an era of dynastic brilliance, when Egypt was at the peak of its architectural mastery. The builders of this pyramid intended it to be a tomb, a monument to a pharaoh whose identity remains uncertain. Some scholars attribute it to Pharaoh Sneferka, others to Sekhemkut. But beyond the debate over ownership lies a far deeper mystery: the methods and materials used, and the inexplicable precision of the work that was completed before construction abruptly stopped. The pyramid rises from the sand as an incomplete silhouette, with its core blocks partially assembled and its outer casing missing. Archaeologists note that the internal chambers, though unfinished, exhibit advanced techniques far ahead of their time. The passageways are straight and narrow, cut with such care that modern engineers still struggle to replicate the accuracy without contemporary tools. Each block seems measured to an almost impossible degree of precision, fitting perfectly with its neighbor. The question remains, how did they achieve this in an age without cranes, without pulley systems, without steel? Inside, the burial chamber and its subsidiary rooms reveal traces of experimentation. The materials differ in density and composition, hinting at an intentional strategy to distribute weight and stabilize the structure. The walls show intricate marks, seemingly left by workers, yet some align in ways that suggest deliberate encoding. Hieroglyphs and mysterious symbols etched into the stone may hold clues about techniques, religious intent, or even energy principles we have yet to understand. Zayet El Aryan is unique in its incompletion. Most pyramids were finished, polished, and adorned with carvings or statues. This one was abandoned, leaving the skeleton of a project that could have rivaled any of the known pyramids. Scholars debate why. Was the pharaoh's death sudden? Did political instability halt the construction, or was there something the builders discovered that made them stop? Knowledge too dangerous or advanced to continue? One of the most puzzling features is the massive limestone blocks, some weighing over 200 tons, left partially placed. How they were transported from nearby quarries and maneuvered into position remains a question. Evidence of simple sledges and ramps exists, yet the scale and alignment hint at techniques that are still beyond full comprehension. Could there have been tools or methods lost to history, methods that could have changed our understanding of ancient engineering? Beyond the mechanics lies the spiritual significance. The pyramid was not merely a tomb, it was a statement. It was meant to bridge earth and sky, to ensure the pharaoh's journey to the afterlife was unimpeded, and perhaps to channel forces that modern scholars can barely imagine. The orientation of the structure aligns with certain celestial points, suggesting a profound knowledge of the stars and their cycles. At sunrise or sunset, light and shadow interact with the interior chambers in ways that suggest intentional design, almost as if the pyramid itself was a machine to measure and harness cosmic forces. Excavations in the surrounding area reveal ancillary structures, temples, causeways, and ceremonial spaces that further suggest the pyramid was part of a larger complex. These buildings hint at a society capable of coordinating vast labor, sourcing materials from distant quarries, and sustaining a workforce capable of feats that even today seem improbable. The abandonment of the pyramid left it vulnerable to time. Centuries of wind, sand, and human interference have erased much of its surface, but the core structure remains, a silent testament to ambition and mystery. Each eroded block, Each partially carved chamber invites questions. What was the original plan? What secrets were hidden within those walls? And why did the builders leave it unfinished? A monument suspended between existence and oblivion. Modern technology, from ground-penetrating radar to 3D scanning, has revealed new details. Hidden corridors, voids, and internal structures hint at a complexity that surpasses earlier pyramids in certain ways. Yet the lack of inscriptions and official records keeps the identity of the pharaoh and the purpose of the pyramid veiled in uncertainty. It is a puzzle left for the ages, a whisper from the past challenging our assumptions about what ancient Egyptians knew and what they were capable of. The Pyramid of Zayet el-Aryan may never reveal all its secrets, but as archaeologists continue to study its stones, its angles, and its shadows, one truth becomes clear. This was a civilization far more advanced than we often give it credit for. The unfinished pyramid stands as a reminder that knowledge can be lost, projects abandoned, and yet even in completion, greatness can speak across millennia. Every partially placed stone, every corridor cut into the limestone, tells a story of ambition, of skill, and of mysteries that defy explanation. For those who stand before it today, the pyramid is more than stone. It is a testament to human ingenuity, a bridge to the past, and a challenge to the future, to understand, to explore, and to never stop questioning what is possible. The forgotten pyramid of Zayet el-Aryan remains a riddle, unfinished, yet complete in its ability to provoke wonder. Silent, yet full of the echoes of an ancient civilization whose knowledge and ambition reached heights that continue to astonish us today. The megalithic towers of Silbury Hill. Rising from the rolling plains of Wiltshire, England, Silbury Hill is one of the most enigmatic monuments of the Neolithic world. At first glance, it may appear as a simple mound of chalk and earth, yet its scale, precision, and hidden mysteries suggest a purpose far beyond what meets the eye. Constructed over 4,500 years ago, during a time when the concept of monumental architecture was still in its infancy, Silbury Hill remains the largest man-made mound in Europe, standing as a testament to the ambition, organization, and knowledge of its builders. The sheer size of the mound is staggering. Measuring over 30 meters high and more than 160 meters in diameter, it required the movement of an estimated 248,000 cubic meters of chalk and soil. Archaeologists have theorized that thousands of people worked for decades, hauling, stacking, and compressing material in a methodical way that defies our understanding of Neolithic engineering. But what was the purpose of this colossal undertaking? For centuries, the answer has remained elusive. Unlike pyramids or later tombs, Silbury Hill does not contain a burial chamber, nor does it appear to serve as a defensive structure. Its interior is a labyrinth of layers, constructed with chalk, clay, and timber, forming concentric terraces that rise to a flattened summit. Excavations reveal intricate patterns within these layers, almost as if the builders were encoding information in the very structure itself. Some archaeologists suggest it could have served as a ceremonial platform, a site for rituals and gatherings that connected the community to the land and the heavens. The alignment of Silbury Hill adds another layer to its mystery. From its peak, one can observe distant landmarks and natural features, suggesting an awareness of the surrounding landscape that hints at astronomical or symbolic significance. Some researchers argue that it may have functioned as a solar marker, aligning with solstices or other celestial events. Others propose that the mound represents a symbolic mountain, a sacred axis connecting the earth to the sky, a vertical monument in a largely flat landscape. Excavations have also uncovered traces of timber and wooden structures, some arranged in concentric circles around the mound. These may have been ceremonial enclosures or scaffolding used during construction, yet no definitive evidence explains why such effort was invested in a mound that, by modern standards, seems functional only as a symbol. Every discovery, from flint tools to organic remains, adds to the mystery, revealing a society with the capacity for meticulous planning, coordination, and long-term vision. Silbury Hill's construction techniques remain a puzzle. The layers of chalk and clay are tightly compacted, providing stability that has allowed the mound to survive millennia of weathering. Timber reinforcements suggest knowledge of weight distribution and structural integrity, indicating that the builders possessed engineering insight that modern observers can scarcely replicate without machinery. Yet despite these advanced methods, we still do not know why it was built, or why it was never altered or expanded upon in later generations. The mound is surrounded by a landscape rich in prehistoric activity. Nearby avenues, barrows, and cursus monuments suggest that Silbury Hill was part of a larger ceremonial complex, a focal point for gatherings and rituals. Its proximity to Avebury, Stonehenge, and other Neolithic sites hints at a network of sacred landscapes, possibly connected through symbolic, religious, or astronomical practices. Silbury Hill may have functioned as a keystone in this network, a central point of power, worship, or cultural significance. Over the centuries, the mound has captured the imagination of archaeologists, historians, and visitors alike. Early antiquarians speculated it was a burial mound, while others proposed it concealed treasure or secret chambers. Modern technologies, including ground-penetrating radar and 3D scanning, have revealed voids and internal features that suggest the presence of construction phases, but they have yet to provide a complete explanation of its purpose. One of the most intriguing aspects of Silbury Hill is its symbolism. In a time when communities relied on natural features for orientation and meaning, creating a massive artificial mound reflects an extraordinary desire to shape the environment. The hill stands not merely as a physical construction, but as a statement of cultural identity, spiritual ambition, and technological skill. Its builders were not merely stacking earth, they were creating a lasting monument, a beacon through time that continues to provoke wonder. The ongoing mysteries of Silbury Hill highlight a broader question about human ingenuity in the Neolithic era. How could a community of farmers, hunters, and craftspeople mobilize the resources, labor, and knowledge necessary to construct such a precise, massive structure? The answer may lie partly in communal effort, ritual importance, and an intimate understanding of materials and landscape. Yet even with these factors, the sophistication and scale of Silbury Hill remain astonishing, challenging assumptions about the capabilities of ancient societies. Today, Silbury Hill continues to draw attention from around the world. Tourists, researchers, and enthusiasts approach its slopes, tracing the lines of its terraces, imagining the hands that shaped each layer of chalk and soil. Though we may never fully understand the intent of its builders, the mound remains a powerful reminder of humanity's ability to conceive and execute monumental works, long before the advent of modern engineering. The megalithic towers of Silbury Hill, though silent and unassuming from a distance, are a testament to Neolithic ambition, creativity, and enduring mystery. Each layer of chalk, each hidden timber, each terrace carved with purpose, speaks of a society capable of feats that continue to astound modern observers. It is more than a mound, it is a legacy, a challenge, and a symbol of what humanity can achieve when imagination, faith, and skill converge. Even after thousands of years, Silbury Hill stands defiant against time, weather, and erosion, continuing to provoke questions, inspire awe, and remind us that the ancient world was far more sophisticated than we often give it credit for. It is a monument to human ambition, a megalithic enigma that will endure long after our own time has passed, holding its secrets patiently beneath the English sky. The ancient dams of Marib, in the heart of modern-day Yemen, hidden among the rugged landscapes and arid plains, lie the remains of one of the most remarkable engineering feats of the ancient world, the dams of Marib. For millennia, these massive structures controlled the waters of the desert, transforming barren land into fertile fields, and sustaining civilizations long before the advent of modern technology. Their scale, sophistication, and impact remain a testament to human ingenuity, and their story offers a rare glimpse into a society that mastered both engineering and survival against the harshest of environments. The Marib dams were built by the Sabaean civilization, a people whose influence stretched across southern Arabia around 1000 BCE. They inhabited a region defined by scarce rainfall, shifting sands, and the constant threat of drought. Yet despite these challenges, the Sabaeans devised a system capable of harnessing the waters of seasonal floods and redirecting them into canals and reservoirs. This was not a mere attempt at survival, it was an ambitious effort to reshape the landscape and support a thriving population in one of the driest regions on Earth. The largest and most famous of these constructions was the Great Dam of Marib, stretching hundreds of meters in length, built from stone, packed earth, and other locally available materials. Unlike modern concrete dams, the Sabaeans relied on a combination of skillful layering, precise gradients, and an understanding of hydrodynamics that allowed water to be stored and controlled with remarkable efficiency. Archaeologists estimate that the original dam could hold millions of cubic meters of water, enough to irrigate the surrounding fields and sustain cities that dotted the region. What makes the Marib dams extraordinary is not only their size, but the precision with which they were constructed. Ancient engineers carefully studied the flow of the seasonal floods, channeling excess water through sluices and spillways, designed to prevent catastrophic failure. They understood the behavior of water under pressure, the need for drainage, and the importance of reinforcing vulnerable sections. In a time without modern machinery, this required careful planning, coordination, and a deep understanding of the materials at their disposal. The dams were part of an intricate network of irrigation channels that spread throughout the fertile lands of the Marib Valley. These channels allowed the Sabaeans to cultivate wheat, barley, and other crops, even in a desert climate where rainfall could be unpredictable and sporadic. The agricultural abundance generated by this system supported the growth of cities, enabled trade, and cemented the Sabaeans' reputation as master engineers of their environment. Yet the Marib dams were more than functional constructions, they were symbols of power, resilience, and innovation. Their maintenance required a sophisticated bureaucratic system, with overseers, laborers, and planners ensuring that the dam remained operational year after year. Historical inscriptions and Sabaean texts suggest that the dams were considered sacred, closely linked to religious rituals and the prosperity of the kingdom. Water was not merely a resource, it was a gift, and controlling it meant controlling the destiny of the people. Over time, the dams underwent numerous expansions and repairs, a testament to both their importance and the challenges of desert engineering. Some sections show evidence of multiple construction phases, indicating centuries of refinement and adaptation. When the dams finally fell into disrepair, likely due to neglect or conflict, the consequences were immediate. Flooding or drought could devastate the region, underscoring how essential these structures were to the survival and prosperity of the Sabaean civilization. Modern archaeologists and engineers studying Merib are struck by the ingenuity of these ancient constructions. Even today, the remnants of the dams reveal principles that are still applied in water management and irrigation. The ability to store and control large volumes of water, while preventing erosion and maintaining stability, is a challenge that continues to occupy modern engineers. The Sabaeans, working without modern tools or machinery, solved these problems with precision, foresight, and an intimate understanding of their environment. The legacy of Merib extends beyond engineering. It tells a story of how humans adapt to their surroundings, turning scarcity into abundance through creativity and cooperation. The dams shaped not only the land but the culture, economy, and political structure of the Sabaean civilization. They were central to trade, agriculture, and urban development, demonstrating how a single technological innovation can transform an entire society. Standing among the ruins today, one cannot help but marvel at the scale and sophistication of the dams. Massive stone blocks, long channels, and remnants of sluices hint at a civilization that understood the delicate balance between nature and human ambition. Archaeologists continue to uncover details, piecing together how the dams functioned and imagining the lives of those who built and maintained them. The ancient dams of Merib are more than a feat of engineering. They are a reminder of humanity's enduring capacity for innovation. They challenge our assumptions about the technological abilities of ancient societies and inspire awe at the determination required to tame the desert. For thousands of years, these structures provided life, prosperity, and security, and even in ruins, they continue to teach us about planning, collaboration, and the power of human ingenuity. Through the centuries, the story of Merib and its dams reminds us that civilization is not solely defined by monuments or empires, but by the systems that sustain life and the ingenuity that allows humans to thrive in even the most unforgiving landscapes. The dams stand as silent witnesses to a society that dared to control water, transform the desert, and leave behind a legacy that continues to inspire and fascinate the world. The giant Buddha of Leshan, carved into the cliffs of the Minjiang, Dadu, and Qingyi rivers in Sichuan province, China, the giant Buddha of Leshan stands as one of humanity's most awe-inspiring monuments. Rising over 71 meters tall, this colossal statue has watched over the river confluence for more than 1,200 years, a silent guardian of both water and people. It is not just a sculpture, it is an engineering marvel, a spiritual symbol, and a testament to the ingenuity of ancient civilizations. The construction of the Leshan giant Buddha began in 7013 CE, during the Tang dynasty, under the guidance of a devoted monk named He Tong. According to historical records, He Tong sought to calm the treacherous currents of the rivers, which had claimed countless lives of passing sailors. Local legend tells us that he believed carving a massive figure of the Buddha would inspire divine protection, calming the waters and ensuring safe passage for travelers. From the very beginning, the creation of the Leshan Buddha required unparalleled technical skill and a profound understanding of materials, geography, and hydraulics. The statue was carved directly into the red sandstone cliffs of Mount Lingyun, a surface prone to erosion and weathering. To prevent water damage, the builders devised a sophisticated drainage system hidden within the statue itself. Channels carved into the head, arms, and back allowed rainwater to flow away, reducing erosion and preserving the sculpture for centuries. This ancient hydraulic engineering is a marvel even by today's standards, reflecting a mastery of both stonework and natural forces. The scale of the project was immense. He Tong and his team employed hundreds of laborers, masons, and artisans over decades, chipping away at the cliff face with simple tools yet achieving extraordinary precision. The hands alone stretch over 8 meters in length, the ears measure more than 7 meters, and the eyes appear almost alive, gazing serenely over the rivers below. Every detail was carefully planned to maintain proportionality on a monumental scale, a feat that continues to baffle modern scholars. The giant Buddha was more than a spiritual monument, it was also a cultural statement. During the Tang dynasty, Buddhism flourished in China, and the Leshan Buddha became a symbol of the era's devotion, wealth, and technical achievement. Pilgrims from across the empire would travel for days to witness the statue, leaving offerings and prayers. In this way, the Buddha served as both a spiritual guide and a testament to human determination, bridging the realms of faith, art, and engineering. What is particularly remarkable is how the statue interacts with its natural surroundings. The cliff face itself posed enormous challenges, but the builders adapted their work to the contours of the rock. The flowing robes of the Buddha follow the natural undulations of the sandstone, giving the figure a sense of life and fluidity. From a distance, the Buddha seems almost to emerge from the cliff, a seamless part of the landscape, yet up close, every carved detail reveals the care and skill of ancient artisans. Over the centuries, the Lashan Buddha has faced threats from weather, earthquakes, and human activity. Yet it has endured, largely thanks to the ingenious drainage system and the stability of the surrounding rock. Modern conservation efforts have focused on preserving both the stone and the intricate network of channels that protect it. Archaeologists and engineers study the statue, not only for its artistic value, but also for its insights into ancient construction methods and environmental adaptation. Beyond its technical achievements, the giant Buddha of Lashan holds profound symbolic meaning. It embodies compassion, calm, and the protective power of faith. Haitong's original vision, a guardian for the rivers and the people who traverse them, remains evident today. Travelers and pilgrims still pause to admire the figure, feeling the weight of history and the silent presence of a monument that has stood for more than a millennium. The Buddha's location at the confluence of three rivers was no accident. This site amplified the spiritual and practical impact of the statue, influencing water flow and acting as a focal point for local communities. The rivers, once feared for their dangerous currents, became a source of life and connection, guided by the steady gaze of the Buddha carved into stone. What modern researchers find most striking is the combination of artistry and engineering. The statue was not simply a sculpture, it was an integrated system that accounted for gravity, water, and erosion. The precision achieved with basic tools without modern machinery is extraordinary. The Lashan Buddha is a reminder that human vision and persistence can overcome environmental challenges, creating monuments that endure far beyond the lifetimes of their creators. Standing before the Buddha, one cannot help but feel a sense of awe and humility. Its sheer scale, the serenity of its expression, and the ingenuity behind its creation make it clear that this was not just a project, it was a legacy. It connects the human and the divine, the natural and the engineered, the temporal and the eternal. In a world where monuments often crumble and civilizations fade, the giant Buddha of Lashan continues to command respect and admiration. It reminds us of what can be achieved when faith, art, and science converge. Every carved detail, every hidden drainage channel, every sweeping robe tells a story of human aspiration, of a people striving to leave a mark on the world, and of the enduring power of ingenuity. For over 12 centuries, the Lashan Buddha has gazed over rivers, mountains, and generations of people. Its presence is timeless, a silent witness to history, devotion, and the heights of human creativity. And though centuries have passed, the statue's lessons remain. Vision, perseverance, and harmony with nature can create wonders that defy time itself. The giant faces of Bayon. At the heart of Cambodia's ancient city of Angkor Thom, standing amidst the dense forests and winding causeways, lies the enigmatic temple of Bayon. Unlike any other temple of its era, Bayon is adorned with massive stone faces carved into towers that rise above the city like silent sentinels. Each face, serene yet commanding, gazes in all directions, as if watching over the land, the people, and time itself. The temple was constructed in the late 12th and early 13th centuries under King Jayavarman VII, one of the most powerful and visionary rulers of the Khmer Empire. Jayavarman sought to create not just a place of worship, but a monument that would embody his authority, spiritual devotion, and connection to the divine. The faces of Bayon, carved on each of the temple's 54 towers, are believed to represent the king himself, fused with the Bodhisattva Avalokiteshvara, the embodiment of compassion. In this way, the temple served as both a spiritual sanctuary and a political statement, reinforcing the king's omnipresence over his empire. The scale of the project is staggering. Some faces measure over 4 meters in height, their massive stone features carved with exquisite precision. Each tower contains multiple faces, strategically oriented to watch over every cardinal direction. The sheer number and placement of the faces create an overwhelming sense of presence, as though the king, or his divine counterpart, were observing every movement within the city. Scholars estimate that more than 200 faces originally adorned the temple, though centuries of weathering, decay, and human activity have left only a fraction intact. The technical mastery behind Bayon is extraordinary. Carved from sandstone blocks quarried many kilometers away, the construction required not only skilled artisans but also an intricate understanding of logistics, engineering, and artistry. The blocks were transported, lifted, and fitted into precise positions without modern tools, yet the alignment and durability of the faces have withstood the test of time. The serene smiles, the elongated earlobes, and the closed eyes reveal a level of artistry and intention that continues to fascinate archaeologists and historians alike. Bayonne's design goes beyond its faces. The temple itself is a labyrinth of corridors, stairways, galleries, and bas-reliefs, each narrating stories of the Khmer Empire, its military campaigns, daily life, and religious beliefs. The faces are integrated into this living tapestry, connecting the monumental to the narrative. They are not simply decorative, they are symbolic, a reminder of the divine presence watching over earthly affairs, and a visual representation of the king's guiding hand. One of the most remarkable aspects of Bayonne is how it interacts with its environment. The towers are carefully placed, catching sunlight and casting shadows that accentuate the face's expressions at different times of the day. The scale of the project required an understanding of not only architecture, but also optics and spatial awareness. Every tower, every face, every carving was designed to inspire awe, reverence, and even subtle intimidation, a testament to the power of symbolism in architecture. The faces themselves have been the subject of intense study and speculation. Their serene expressions, often called the smile of Angkor, convey a sense of calm and divine benevolence, yet they are enigmatic, almost otherworldly. Some researchers suggest that the faces reflect a fusion of Hindu and Buddhist iconography, blending spiritual and political messages into a single monumental image. Others argue that they were intended to represent a universal guardian, a protective presence for the city and its inhabitants. Over centuries, Bayonne has faced immense challenges. Natural forces such as tropical rains, earthquakes, and shifting soils have caused damage to the stonework. The encroachment of the surrounding jungle has both hidden and threatened the structure, allowing roots and vegetation to infiltrate the delicate sandstone carvings. Yet despite these challenges, the faces remain, largely intact, their silent gazes continuing to watch over Angkor Thom. Modern conservation efforts have focused not only on preservation, but also on understanding the construction techniques used by the ancient builders. Researchers study the temple to learn how the Khmer achieved such precision in alignment, proportion, and stability. Every angle, every contour, every carved detail provides insight into a civilization that combined artistry, engineering, and spirituality in ways that still inspire awe today. Visiting Bayonne is a journey through time. Standing before one of its towers, a person can feel the weight of centuries, the vision of a king, and the devotion of artisans who dedicated their lives to this monumental project. The faces are more than stone, they are a dialogue between the past and the present, a reminder of human creativity, ingenuity, and the desire to connect with something greater than oneself. The giant faces of Bayonne continue to captivate the imagination of historians, archaeologists, and travelers alike. Their serene smiles, carved with such precision and scale, challenge our understanding of what is possible in ancient construction. They embody the power of a civilization, the spirituality of its people, and the enduring legacy of a king who sought to leave his mark on the world, both physically and spiritually. For over 800 years, the faces of Bayonne have observed the passage of time, the rise and fall of empires, and the endless flow of life along the rivers of Cambodia. Their presence is timeless, a silent testament to the ambition, skill, and faith of the Khmer Empire. And though centuries have passed, the giant faces remain, watching, guarding, and inspiring those who stand beneath their gaze. The megalithic ruins of Tarxian. On the small island of Malta, nestled among rolling plains and limestone cliffs, lie the ancient ruins of Tarxian, a complex of megalithic temples that have withstood the test of thousands of years. These structures are some of the oldest freestanding buildings in the world, dating back to around 3000 BCE, during the late Neolithic period. Their sheer size, precision, and artistry are a testament to the ingenuity of a civilization that thrived long before written history. The Tarxian temples are a labyrinth of stone corridors, altars, and chambers, all carved with meticulous care from enormous slabs of limestone. Each stone, some weighing several tons, was carefully shaped and fitted into place without the aid of modern machinery. Archaeologists marvel at the craftsmanship, noting that the builders achieved an extraordinary level of precision, aligning walls and passages in ways that suggest an advanced understanding of engineering, geometry, and perhaps even astronomy. Visitors to Tarxian are immediately struck by the scale of the carvings that adorn the temple walls. Spiral motifs, depictions of animals, and intricate patterns cover nearly every surface, illustrating the artistic skill of a society that clearly valued symbolism and ritual. Among the carvings, bulls hold a prominent place, suggesting their significance in the culture's religious or ceremonial life. Some scholars propose that these depictions indicate the worship of fertility deities, or a veneration of the natural world, though the exact meaning remains a mystery. The complex layout of Tarxian raises questions about its purpose. The temples are arranged in such a way that some chambers appear deliberately isolated, possibly to enhance acoustics or create a sense of spiritual seclusion. Others are positioned to allow sunlight to enter in a precise manner at certain times of the year, hinting at astronomical knowledge that seems far advanced for its time. The combination of artistry, alignment, and scale suggests that the Tarxian builders were not only master masons but also careful observers of the natural world. Excavations at Tarxian, first undertaken in the early 20th century, revealed an astonishing variety of artifacts. Stone figurines, pottery, and ritual objects were uncovered, painting a picture of a society deeply invested in ceremonial practices. Some figurines are highly stylized, while others show remarkable attention to anatomical detail, offering clues about the beliefs, traditions, and daily life of the Neolithic people who once inhabited the island. What makes Tarxian truly remarkable, however, is its age. These megalithic structures predate many of the world's most famous civilizations. At a time when much of the known world was still in the early stages of agricultural development, the people of Malta were constructing monumental stone temples, orchestrating precise layouts, and creating symbolic art that has survived for millennia. It raises questions about the sources of their knowledge, their methods of transportation, and the social organization required to achieve such feats. The site's preservation allows modern observers to appreciate the ingenuity of these ancient builders. The megaliths themselves are massive, with some weighing upwards of 50 tons. The precision of their placement indicates not only technical skill but also careful planning, and possibly communal labor on a scale rarely seen in the Neolithic period. Every wall, every passage, every carved figure speaks to a civilization that understood the power of architecture to convey meaning, command attention, and shape human experience. Despite centuries of weathering and human interference, the Tarxian temples remain imposing. The stones, weathered by wind and rain, still bear the marks of chisels and tools, offering insight into the construction techniques of a people long gone. Researchers continue to debate how these massive blocks were quarried, transported, and assembled with such accuracy, sparking speculation about lost knowledge or advanced Neolithic engineering. The significance of Tarxian extends beyond its physical structures. The temples represent a worldview, a belief system, and a connection to forces that may have guided these people's lives. The alignment of the chambers, the symbolic carvings, and the ceremonial layout suggest that Tarxian was not merely a place of gathering, but a spiritual epicenter. The rituals conducted within these walls were likely complex, intended to honor deities, mark astronomical events, or invoke blessings on crops, animals, and communities. For centuries, the site lay hidden beneath soil and rubble, only to be rediscovered and meticulously studied. Each new discovery adds depth to our understanding of Malta's Neolithic culture, revealing a civilization capable of extraordinary feats. Scholars are still piecing together the puzzle of Tarxian, trying to decipher the motivations, beliefs, and skills of those who built it. Standing among the towering stones today, it is easy to feel the weight of history and the presence of those who carved, lifted, and positioned each massive block. The grandeur of Tarxian is not merely in its size, but in the vision and devotion it embodies. These were not ordinary people building ordinary structures, they were architects of something far greater than themselves, creating spaces that continue to inspire awe thousands of years later. Tarxian reminds us that even in the distant past, humanity sought to leave a mark on the world. Through immense effort, creativity, and skill, the Neolithic builders created a legacy that has withstood the passage of millennia. The temple complex is more than stone and carvings. It is a monument to human ambition, ingenuity, and the enduring desire to connect with something beyond the everyday. The megalithic ruins of Tarxian stand as a testament to the extraordinary capabilities of early civilizations. Their massive stones, intricate carvings, and precise alignments continue to puzzle, inspire, and captivate. They challenge our understanding of history, reminding us that the human drive to build, create, and seek the divine is timeless. As we walk among the ruins, the echoes of a civilization long past resonate through the stones, telling a story of dedication, mystery, and unparalleled craftsmanship. The colossal steppes of Cochasqui. High in the Andean foothills of northern Ecuador, amidst misty valleys and rolling hills, lie the ancient ruins of Cochasqui. Here, a series of massive stepped pyramids, sprawling terraces, and ceremonial platforms rise from the earth, remnants of a civilization whose methods and intentions remain shrouded in mystery. Known as the colossal steppes of Cochasqui, these structures reveal an extraordinary mastery of stonework and landscape, built thousands of years ago by a people whose identity and culture are only partially understood. The site comprises 15 large truncated pyramids, surrounded by more than 20 smaller mounds. Unlike the smooth, iconic pyramids of Egypt, the Cochasqui pyramids are stepped, constructed in layers of stone and earth. Each level rises higher, creating a series of terraces that would have required immense planning, labor, and knowledge of structural stability. These colossal steps, though now weathered and overgrown, convey a sense of deliberate design, suggesting that the builders had a vision both practical and ceremonial. Archaeologists believe Kochaski was a center for astronomical observation and religious practice. Some of the terraces align with the solstices, indicating an awareness of the sun's movement across the sky. The pyramid steps themselves may have functioned as platforms for observing celestial events, offering the priestly elite a stage from which to monitor the heavens. The integration of astronomy and architecture demonstrates a society that not only built for survival, but also sought to understand and harmonize with the cosmos. The engineering feats of Kochaski are astonishing. The builders had to contend with uneven terrain, heavy rainfall, and seismic activity typical of the Andean region. Yet they managed to create terraces that remain remarkably stable, with sophisticated drainage systems to prevent erosion and collapse. Stones were carefully selected, shaped, and stacked, while earth and fill reinforced the layers, a testament to a highly developed understanding of materials and environmental challenges. Artifacts discovered at Kochaski provide insight into the people who constructed this monumental site. Pottery shards, carved figurines, and ceremonial objects point to a culture rich in ritual and symbolism. Many of these items are intricately decorated, reflecting a society that valued artistry as much as practicality. The pyramids themselves, in turn, would have been the focal point of such rituals, elevating priests, leaders, and participants above the surrounding plains, both physically and symbolically closer to the divine. Despite centuries of natural wear and human interference, the sheer scale of Kochaski continues to impress. From above, the terraces form geometric patterns that suggest careful planning and a precise layout that integrates the structures seamlessly with the surrounding landscape. The pyramids are arranged in a manner that hints at both a ceremonial pathway and a cosmic blueprint, reflecting a worldview in which the earth, the heavens, and human society were deeply interconnected. Kochaski's location itself raises questions. Why build such monumental structures in a relatively remote Andean valley? Some scholars propose that the site was strategically placed near water sources and fertile land, allowing for sustained occupation and agriculture. Others suggest the altitude and isolation were intentional, creating a spiritual center removed from everyday life, a place where the community could engage with sacred rituals and observe the stars. The step design of the pyramids is not merely practical, it carries symbolic significance. In many ancient cultures, terraces and steps represented a journey, a progression from the earthly to the divine. Climbing the colossal steps of Kochaski may have been a ritualistic act, a metaphorical ascent toward higher knowledge, spiritual enlightenment, or closer communion with the gods. Each step, each platform would have brought the observer nearer to the skies, emphasizing the connection between human endeavor and the cosmos. Excavations and studies have revealed evidence of burials and offerings at various levels of the terraces, suggesting that the site also served as a necropolis or sacred resting place. The inclusion of human remains alongside ceremonial artifacts implies that Kochaski functioned as both a living and spiritual hub, a place where the cycles of life and death were observed, honored, and integrated into the rhythms of daily existence. The enduring mystery of Kochaski lies not only in its construction but also in its purpose. While some hypotheses emphasize astronomy, others point to social hierarchy, agriculture, or ritual. The combination of these functions indicates a society with complex social organization, capable of coordinating large-scale labor projects and integrating multiple aspects of life, spiritual, practical, and observational, into a single monumental landscape. As visitors walk among the terraces today, the scale of the pyramids evokes awe and curiosity. Each step, worn by millennia of erosion and weather, holds the echoes of a civilization that dared to reshape the earth in pursuit of both knowledge and devotion. The colossal steps rise as silent witnesses to an ancient society's ambitions, their shadows stretching across the valley, as if to remind us of human ingenuity long before modern technology. Kochaski challenges our understanding of ancient architecture and culture. How did these builders move tons of stone without machinery? How did they integrate astronomy, engineering, and ritual with such precision? While the answers remain elusive, the site stands as a monumental testament to human creativity, determination, and spiritual vision. The colossal steps of Kochaski endure as a symbol of an advanced society that harmonized the earth, the heavens, and human life. These terraces are more than stone and soil. They are a reflection of ambition, knowledge, and the timeless pursuit of understanding the world beyond our immediate senses. For millennia, they have invited contemplation, study, and wonder, standing as enduring evidence of what humanity can achieve when imagination, belief, and skill converge in monumental form. The massive obelisks of Axum, In the highlands of northern Ethiopia, amidst rugged mountains and sweeping valleys, stand the colossal obelisks of Axum, silent sentinels of an ancient civilization that flourished thousands of years ago. These towering monoliths, carved from single blocks of granite, are among the largest in the world and remain marvels of engineering, their sheer scale and precision sparking wonder and curiosity for generations. The kingdom of Axum, rising to prominence between the 1st and 7th centuries CE, was a major center of trade, culture, and religion in northeastern Africa. Axumite society left behind not only grand monuments but also complex inscriptions, coinage, and architectural achievements that suggest an advanced understanding of both engineering and symbolism. Yet it is the obelisks that capture the imagination most vividly, standing as markers of power, faith, and ingenuity. These obelisks, often called stelae, served multiple purposes. Many functioned as grave markers for kings and nobles, memorializing the dead while asserting their social and political significance. Carved with intricate designs that mimic the windows, doors, and beams of Axumite architecture, the stelae are more than simple markers. They are architectural representations of monumental buildings, transformed into vertical stone. Some reach staggering heights, over 100 feet, crafted from a single piece of granite extracted from distant quarries. Transporting these immense stones was no small feat. Scholars have speculated for decades about the methods used to move and erect such massive monoliths without modern machinery. Some suggest that teams of laborers, possibly hundreds at a time, used a combination of sledges, ropes, and inclined planes, leveraging both human ingenuity and the natural contours of the land. The precision with which these obelisks were carved and balanced indicates a deep understanding of material properties, weight distribution, and structural stability. Axumite engineers did not stop at carving. They meticulously designed the placement of each obelisk. Many were aligned along central avenues or ceremonial grounds, emphasizing symmetry and visibility. The orientation of some stelae may have had cosmological significance, possibly aligned with solar events or cardinal directions, hinting at a sophisticated astronomical awareness that complemented their architectural skill. The inscriptions on some obelisks provide further insight into Axumite life. Written in Ge'ez, the ancient script of Ethiopia, these markings record names, titles, and accomplishments, preserving a history that might otherwise have been lost to time. Through these engravings, modern scholars glimpse a civilization deeply connected to both its rulers and the divine, using monumental stone as both a record and a symbol of continuity. The largest of the Axum obelisks, known as the Great Stele, collapsed centuries ago, its fractured remains lying partially buried until restoration efforts in the 20th century attempted to re-erect it. Even in fragments, it speaks to the incredible ambition and craftsmanship of the Axumites. Standing before the re-erected obelisks today, one can sense the magnitude of labor, planning, and reverence that went into their creation, each stone a testament to human determination. The obelisks also reveal a society attuned to its environment. Carved from granite, sourced from nearby quarries, the builders carefully selected stones free of cracks, anticipating the stress and weight each monolith would endure over centuries. The surfaces were polished to resist weathering, ensuring that these monumental symbols would survive not just decades but millennia, and survive they have, enduring earthquakes, climate shifts, and human activity to stand tall as guardians of Axum's ancient legacy. Beyond their architectural and symbolic significance, the obelisks of Axum are cultural touchstones, connecting Ethiopia's modern identity to its ancient past. They reflect a civilization that combined trade, religion, and governance into a cohesive society capable of monumental achievement. The obelisks are more than stone. They are expressions of ambition, belief, and a desire to leave an enduring mark on the world. Visitors today are awed by their size and artistry. Walking among the stelae, one cannot help but wonder how ancient engineers achieved such precision, how they coordinated the movement and placement of stones that weigh hundreds of tons, and how they imbued each monolith with meaning that transcends centuries. Every crack, every carved motif, tells a story of a people who mastered both technique and vision, leaving behind a legacy that challenges our understanding of ancient African civilizations. The obelisks stand as silent witnesses to the rise and fall of the Axumite kingdom, reminders that human ambition, when coupled with skill and determination, can shape the world in ways that echo across millennia. They invite us to reflect not only on what was built, but on what humanity can achieve when ingenuity, labor, and belief converge. The massive obelisks of Axum endure as monuments of mystery and marvel, their massive forms etched against the Ethiopian sky. They remain a symbol of what a society with vision, knowledge, and devotion can accomplish, standing resolute and proud long after empires have fallen. The stone giants of Tula. In the heart of the Mexican highlands, amid rolling plains and scattered ancient ruins, stand the imposing stone giants of Tula. These colossal figures, known as Atlantean statues, reach heights of over 16 feet. carved with painstaking detail and commanding an air of authority that has fascinated historians and travelers for centuries. They are the guardians of Tula, the ceremonial center of the Toltec civilization, and symbols of a society whose influence would ripple across Mesoamerica. Tula flourished between the 10th and 12th centuries CE, succeeding the fading power of Teotihuacan and preceding the rise of the Aztec Empire. The city was a hub of trade, artistry, and ritual, and at its heart stood the pyramid of Tlahuizcalpantecutli, flanked by these monumental statues, known locally as Atlanteans. Each figure is carved from basalt, standing upright and clasping a symbolic weapon, likely representing spears or atlatls. Their size and posture suggest they were not merely decorative, but conveyed military might and spiritual guardianship. These stone giants are remarkable not only for their scale, but for their precision and uniformity. Each statue is carefully proportioned, with detailed facial features, intricate attire, and muscular limbs, reflecting the Toltec mastery of both stone carving and symbolic representation. The sculptors must have spent years selecting the right blocks of stone, transporting them across the city, and carving them with tools of hard stone and obsidian, demonstrating an extraordinary level of skill and patience. Their placement atop the temple platform is deliberate and symbolic. Positioned in rows, the statues gaze outward, watching over the city, the people, and the surrounding lands. They may have represented elite warriors, deities, or even mythic ancestors, embodying both protection and divine authority. The Toltecs believed that connecting with the spiritual world required ritualized spaces and guardians that could channel energy between humans and the divine, and the Atlanteans fulfilled this role. The architecture surrounding these giants is equally impressive. The platform itself is made of finely cut stone blocks, some weighing several tons, assembled without mortar in a manner that has withstood centuries of earthquakes and weathering. The combination of the statue's mass and the stability of the foundations reflects an advanced understanding of weight distribution, balance, and engineering, suggesting that the Toltecs were more than builders, they were masters of monumental design. For centuries, explorers and archaeologists puzzled over the purpose of these figures. Were they purely ceremonial, designed to awe and intimidate visitors? Or were they functional, perhaps aligned with the sun, stars, or sacred calendrical events? Some studies suggest that the Toltecs integrated astronomical knowledge into their architecture, with the positioning of the statues corresponding to celestial phenomena, linking the earth and sky in ways that remain partially mysterious to this day. Transporting and erecting these statues was a feat in itself. Each basalt block had to be quarried, shaped, and moved without modern machinery. Scholars theorize that teams of laborers may have employed ramps, rollers, and pulleys, combining brute force with ingenuity. The sheer scale of the project implies strong social organization, logistical planning, and perhaps even a religious imperative that motivated hundreds, if not thousands, of people to work in unison over many years. Beyond their physical presence, the stone giants of Tula hold a profound cultural resonance. They are reminders of the Toltec emphasis on warrior ethos, spiritual authority, and urban planning. Their carved attire and weaponry provide insights into the military structure, ceremonial roles, and artistic conventions of a civilization that influenced later cultures, including the Aztecs, who revered Tula as a sacred ancestral city. Despite centuries of looting, natural degradation, and the encroachment of modern life, the statues endure, their expressions solemn, their forms commanding. Standing before them, one cannot help but feel a sense of awe, as if these stone figures, carved by human hands centuries ago, still watch over the land, holding stories of power, ritual, and knowledge that defy complete understanding. The stone giants of Tula are more than remnants of a long-lost civilization. They are living testaments to human ambition, artistry, and the desire to connect with forces greater than ourselves. Each statue embodies not just the Toltec skill in sculpting and engineering, but also the enduring mystery of how and why a civilization could create monuments that still dominate the landscape centuries later. Walking among the Atlanteans, visitors can almost sense the pulse of the city that once thrived beneath their gaze. Markets, temples, and homes long gone, yet the giants remain, standing as eternal witnesses. They remind us that the past is never truly gone. It is carved into the stones, encoded in the monuments, and preserved in the silence of civilizations that dared to reach for greatness. The stone giants of Tula continue to inspire fascination, inviting us to explore not just the techniques of construction, but the minds, beliefs, and ambitions of those who dared to carve giants out of stone and place them at the heart of a city that still echoes with mystery. The massive stone circles of Callanish. On the windswept Isle of Lewis in Scotland's Outer Hebrides, a landscape of rolling moors and rugged cliffs hides one of the most enigmatic monuments of the ancient world, the Callanish stones. Rising abruptly from the earth, these massive standing stones form a complex pattern of circles, avenues, and alignments, creating a site that has captivated archaeologists, astronomers, and travelers for centuries. Dating back to around 2900 BCE, the Callanish stones predate Stonehenge by several centuries, placing them among the earliest known megalithic monuments in Europe. Yet unlike other stone circles, Callanish is not a single formation. It is an intricate network of standing stones, with a central circle surrounded by avenues of stones radiating outward, forming cruciform shapes that stretch across the landscape. The arrangement is precise, deliberate, and unmistakably intentional, suggesting that the builders possessed not only architectural skill, but also a sophisticated understanding of geometry and spatial planning. The sheer size of the stones is striking. Some reach over 13 feet in height, with weights exceeding 10 tons. Transporting these monoliths from distant quarries without the use of modern machinery would have been an immense undertaking. Scholars theorize that the builders relied on wooden rollers, sledges, and sheer manpower, possibly assisted by the harsh winter weather, which could have made moving heavy stones across frozen ground slightly easier. Each stone was likely selected for its unique shape and quality, carved, positioned, and aligned with astonishing care. The purpose of Callanish has long been the subject of debate and speculation. While some suggest it served as a ceremonial or religious center, others emphasize its astronomical significance. Many of the stones align with the lunar cycle, particularly the 18.6-year lunar standstill, when the moon reaches its most extreme rising and setting points on the horizon. The avenues of stones may have served as sightlines, guiding observers to track these celestial events with precision. In this way, the Callanish complex may have acted as a prehistoric observatory, allowing the ancient inhabitants to predict lunar and solar cycles with remarkable accuracy. Archaeological evidence suggests that the site was used for centuries, possibly even a millennium, for ritualistic gatherings, feasts, and ceremonial activities. Excavations have uncovered remnants of dwellings, pottery, and tools, indicating that the stone circle was part of a broader cultural and social landscape. People likely traveled from distant regions to witness and participate in the ceremonies, drawn by the power and mystery of the stones. The design of the site itself evokes a sense of cosmic order. The central circle, flanked by the outer stones and aligned avenues, may symbolize a connection between the earth and sky, the mortal and divine, the temporal and eternal. The builders, though anonymous, clearly possessed a worldview that integrated spirituality, astronomy, and social cohesion. Each stone, positioned with precision, resonates with a deeper understanding of their environment and the cosmos. Standing at Callanish today, visitors are struck by the isolation of the site. Winds sweep across the moors, carrying the scent of peat and sea spray, and the stones cast long shadows at dawn and dusk. It is easy to imagine the ancient builders gathering here in ceremonial garb, performing rituals under the gaze of the sun and moon, their actions echoing through time, leaving a legacy carved in stone. Despite centuries of erosion, cultural shifts, and the encroachment of modern life, the Callanish stones endure, maintaining their alignment and grandeur. Each standing stone carries the weight of history, the intent of its builders, and the mystery of its original purpose. They challenge us to consider what knowledge and skill existed in prehistoric societies, knowledge that allowed humans to move massive stones, plan complex astronomical alignments, and create structures that endure long after the people themselves have vanished. The Callanish stones are more than a monument, they are a dialogue across millennia, a testament to human curiosity, ingenuity, and reverence for the heavens. As the wind whistles through the stones, one can almost hear the voices of those who built them, speaking through time in a language of stone and sky. Their presence reminds us that even in the most remote corners of the world, our ancestors sought to understand the cosmos, celebrate their place within it, and leave behind markers that would endure far beyond their own lifetimes. Callanish stands as a bridge between the ancient and the modern, a place where history, astronomy, and spirituality converge. It forces us to confront the ingenuity of early humans, their ability to shape their environment, and their enduring quest to find meaning in the patterns of the heavens. It is a reminder that monumental achievement does not always require modern tools. Sometimes it requires vision, determination, and a profound understanding of the natural world. As the sun sets over the Hebridean moors, the stones glow with a subtle light, their forms casting shadows that stretch across the landscape, echoing the cycles of the moon and the movements of the stars. The Callanish stones remain, silent yet eloquent, a testimony to a people who looked to the sky, studied the movements of celestial bodies, and immortalized their knowledge in stone that continues to awe, inspire, and mystify all who encounter it. The colossal gates of Carchemish. On the banks of the Euphrates River, where the modern border between Turkey and Syria runs, lies the ancient city of Carchemish. For centuries, this city stood as a strategic and cultural hub of the Near East, a frontier of empires, a crossroads of trade, and a witness to countless battles. Among its many remains, none is as imposing, as enigmatic, or as awe-inspiring as the colossal gates of Carchemish. These gates, carved from massive stone and meticulously constructed, were far more than simple entrances to the city. They represented power, authority, and the technological ingenuity of the Hittite civilization that flourished here around 1400 to 1200 BCE. Towering over anyone who approached, the gates were built to impress, intimidate, and endure. Each stone block, hewn with precision, fits seamlessly with its neighbors, a testament to the extraordinary skill of the ancient stonemasons. The scale of the gates is staggering. Some stones weigh several tons, and the sheer height of the structure suggests that it was meant to dominate the surrounding landscape. Scholars believe that the gates were not only defensive structures, but also ceremonial. They served as a threshold between the mundane and the sacred, between the city within and the outside world. Approaching the gates, one would have felt the weight of authority, the presence of kings, and the power of empires long vanished. Carchemish itself was a city of immense importance. Situated along key trade routes, it connected Anatolia, Mesopotamia, and the Levant. The gates, therefore, were more than protective barriers. They were symbols of prestige, asserting the city's dominance and wealth. Reliefs and inscriptions once adorned the gates, depicting gods, kings, and mythical creatures. These images reinforced the city's identity, showcasing the divine sanction behind its rulers and the might of its military. Constructing such colossal gates required ingenuity and planning. The Hittites had to quarry, transport, and assemble massive stones without the aid of modern cranes or machinery. They likely employed a combination of ramps, levers, wooden sledges, and coordinated labor, reflecting an advanced understanding of engineering principles. The precision with which these massive stones were placed continues to baffle modern architects and archaeologists. Even today, remnants of the gates stand as a testament to techniques that have been lost over millennia. The gates also held a practical function in warfare. Carchemish frequently found itself under threat from rival kingdoms and invading forces. The massive gates could be closed to protect the inhabitants, forming part of a larger defensive wall system that surrounded the city. Yet the design balanced security with ceremonial grandeur, suggesting that appearance and symbolism were as important as utility. In this way, the gates were both fortress and monument, merging practicality with artistry. Archaeologists have uncovered evidence that the gates were part of a larger complex, including palaces, temples, and administrative buildings. Carchemish was a thriving city, a seat of governance, commerce, and culture. Its gates marked not just entry points but the thresholds of civilization itself, standing as silent witnesses to centuries of human ambition, triumph, and survival. The colossal gates have also inspired modern studies of ancient construction techniques. By analyzing the stones, their placement, and the reliefs carved into their surfaces, researchers attempt to understand the methods and tools used by the Hittites. How did they move such heavy blocks with limited technology? How did they achieve such exact alignment? These questions remain at the heart of the mystery, highlighting the sophistication of a civilization that existed over 3 millennia ago. Beyond their engineering and artistic significance, the gates also provide insight into the culture and belief systems of Carchemish. The reliefs and inscriptions suggest a society deeply connected to the divine, where kingship, religion, and statecraft were intertwined. Every stone placed, every carving etched, reflected not just skill but a worldview that honored gods, ancestors, and rulers in equal measure. Standing today among the ruins of Carchemish, the colossal gates evoke a profound sense of awe. They rise from the earth as monuments to human ambition and vision, bridging the distant past with the present. They remind us that ancient societies, long before the conveniences of modern technology, achieved feats of construction, artistry, and urban planning that continue to inspire and mystify. Even as centuries of wind, war, and erosion have weathered their surfaces, the gates endure. Their presence invites us to imagine the city as it once was, bustling with merchants, soldiers, priests, and citizens, all moving through these massive thresholds under the gaze of kings and gods. The gates symbolize not only physical passage, but also the passage of time, carrying forward the legacy of a civilization whose ingenuity and power remain palpable to this day. The colossal gates of Carchemish are a reminder that human ambition knows no bounds. They challenge our understanding of ancient engineering and artistry, demonstrating that even without modern tools, civilizations were capable of creating structures of immense scale, precision, and beauty. Each massive stone is a piece of history, each carving a fragment of identity, and together they form a monument that continues to captivate, educate, and inspire. As the sun sets over the Euphrates, light filters through the remaining arches, casting shadows that echo the grandeur of a city lost to time. The colossal gates of Carchemish stand as silent witnesses to human determination, skill, and creativity, offering a window into a past that, despite millennia, remains alive in stone. They remind us that the story of humanity is written not only in texts but in the enduring marks we leave on the world. The hidden giants of Nurakashi. In the heart of Sardinia, amid rolling hills and rugged landscapes, stands one of the Mediterranean's most enigmatic ancient constructions, Shunurakashi. To the casual observer, these stone towers might appear as simple fortresses or remnants of a long-forgotten village. Yet beneath their weathered exteriors and carefully stacked stones, there lies a story of ambition, engineering, and an ancient civilization whose reach and influence remain shrouded in mystery. The Nurakashi civilization, which thrived on Sardinia from approximately 1800 to 500 BCE, left behind thousands of these stone towers known as Nurakashis scattered across the island. Shunurakashi, located near the town of Barumini, is widely regarded as the most complex and well-preserved example. Rising like silent giants from the surrounding landscape, these structures command attention, their massive stones arranged with remarkable precision. The central tower of Shunurakashi, a multi-tiered bastion, was built using a cyclopean technique. Enormous, unshaped blocks placed atop one another without mortar, relying solely on weight, balance, and ingenuity. The sheer scale of the stones is astonishing. Many weigh several tons, and their careful arrangement reflects a level of skill and planning that would challenge even modern builders. How these ancient people quarried, transported, and positioned such massive blocks without the aid of cranes or pulleys remains a question that fascinates archaeologists to this day. Surrounding the main tower are secondary towers and a labyrinth of walls, creating a fortified compound. Some scholars believe these towers served primarily as defensive structures, protecting the Nurakashi communities from invaders or rival tribes. Others argue that their placement and orientation hint at a deeper, perhaps ceremonial significance. The alignment of certain towers suggests astronomical purposes, possibly tracking the sun, moon, or stars, linking the terrestrial with the celestial. Inside Shunurakashi, the design is equally impressive. Spiral staircases wound upward within the towers, leading to observation points that overlook the island's hills. These internal corridors reveal an understanding of load distribution and structural integrity, allowing the towers to endure centuries of seismic activity, erosion, and the relentless Mediterranean winds. The architecture demonstrates a sophisticated grasp of geometry and construction, hinting at knowledge passed down through generations, now largely lost to time. The scale of the complex is staggering. Archaeological excavations have revealed a network of dwellings, storage areas, and communal spaces surrounding the central Nurakashi. This was more than a fortress. It was a living city, a hub of administration, trade, and culture. It is thought that Shunurakashi functioned as both a defensive stronghold and a symbol of power, projecting authority over the surrounding landscape and communities. What makes these towers truly enigmatic, however, is their very existence. Sardinia is a relatively small island, and yet the Nurakashi people devoted incredible resources, manpower, and ingenuity to these structures. Why invest so much in stone towers, many of which would take decades to construct? Some theorists suggest that the Nurakashis served as territorial markers, asserting control over the land. Others propose that they were places of worship, honoring deities or natural forces, merging the practical with the spiritual. Excavations have uncovered artifacts ranging from bronze weapons to pottery and jewelry, illuminating daily life and trade in these ancient communities. Bronze tools, in particular, indicate a society capable of significant metallurgical skill, suggesting that the Nurakashi civilization was technologically advanced for its time. These findings also reveal connections with other Mediterranean cultures, including the Mycenaeans and the Phoenicians, hinting at a web of interaction and influence that extended far beyond Sardinia's shores. Yet, despite centuries of study, many questions remain unanswered. How exactly were the massive stones moved and positioned with such precision? What role did astronomy play in their construction? And why did the civilization eventually vanish, leaving behind these stone giants as silent witnesses to their existence? Each unanswered question deepens the allure of Shunurakashi, inviting scholars and visitors alike to ponder the ingenuity and ambition of its builders. Standing among the towers today, one is struck by their sheer presence. Even in ruins, the Nurakashi exude power, resilience, and mystery. The wind sweeps across the stone courtyards, carrying whispers from a time when these giants were alive with the voices of people, the clatter of bronze tools, and the rhythms of daily life. The towers, now empty, seem almost sentient, as if guarding secrets that may never be fully revealed. The hidden giants of Shunurakashi remind us of the enduring capacity of human civilizations to shape the landscape. They challenge modern assumptions about prehistoric societies, demonstrating that communities long before the classical era could engineer, plan, and construct with purpose and precision. Each stone, each corridor, each tower is a testament to vision, determination, and knowledge that has transcended millennia. In exploring Su-Naraxi, we confront the limits of our understanding. The Naraxi people left no written records that explain their intentions, leaving us to interpret their legacy through stone alone. The monumentality of the towers, the sophistication of their design, and their endurance over time all point to a civilization that was far more advanced than many might assume. The hidden giants of Naraxi, Su-Naraxi, are more than ancient ruins. They are echoes of a civilization that understood both the practical and the spiritual, the earthly and the celestial. They stand as silent witnesses to human ambition, ingenuity, and resilience, offering us a window into a world that existed thousands of years before our own, yet continues to captivate, inspire, and challenge our understanding of history. The colossal pyramids of Hohokam. In the arid deserts of southern Arizona, amidst the harsh sun and shifting sands, lie the remnants of a civilization whose ingenuity and ambition continue to baffle modern scholars. These are the Hohokam, a people who thrived in the harsh Sonoran Desert for nearly 1,500 years, between 200 and 1450 CE, leaving behind a legacy of monumental architecture and unprecedented engineering. Among their most enigmatic achievements are the colossal pyramids scattered across the desert, massive earthworks that tower over the landscape, hinting at a culture of precision, planning, and purpose. Unlike the stone pyramids of Egypt, the Hohokam pyramids were primarily constructed of adobe and earth, yet their scale is no less astonishing. The largest of these structures, identified at sites such as Snaketown and Casa Grande, rises over 20 meters high, with broad terraces that suggest careful design and complex construction methods. Archaeologists have long marveled at how a society without metal tools or beasts of burden managed to move and shape such vast quantities of soil and clay with remarkable precision. The pyramids were not isolated monuments, they were part of a larger urban and ceremonial network, interconnected with canals, plazas, and residential compounds. The Hohokam were master hydraulic engineers, diverting the waters of the Salton Gila rivers to irrigate crops, sustain communities, and support these monumental constructions. Their canals were so extensive and precise that they rival modern irrigation systems in efficiency, stretching for miles and demonstrating an intimate understanding of terrain, water flow, and environmental management. The design of the pyramids themselves remains a topic of fascination. Many feature multiple terraces, each supported by retaining walls of hardened earth, creating step structures that may have served both functional and ceremonial purposes. The largest pyramids were likely platforms for temples, administrative centers, or observatories. The alignment of certain structures with the sun, the solstices, and celestial bodies suggests that the Hohokam were keen astronomers, tracking time and seasons with extraordinary accuracy. Within these pyramids, archaeologists have uncovered evidence of ritual activity. Offerings of pottery, shell ornaments, and even obsidian tools hint at complex social and religious practices. It is clear that the pyramids were more than architectural feats, they were central to the spiritual and communal life of the Hohokam. The construction of such immense structures would have required careful organization, large labor forces, and knowledge of materials and engineering principles that seem astonishing for a society that left behind no written language. The sheer scale of these earthworks also challenges our assumptions about prehistoric societies in North America. While earlier research often underestimated the Hohokam as a loosely organized, small-scale farming culture, the pyramids reveal a society capable of long-term planning, resource management, and collective action on a monumental scale. These were not temporary constructions. They were meant to endure, to dominate the landscape, and to symbolize the Hohokam's mastery over their environment. Excavations of the largest pyramids show evidence of regular maintenance and modifications over centuries, indicating that these structures were living centers, evolving with the society that built them. Layers of compacted earth and careful terracing reveal a deep understanding of weight distribution and erosion prevention, ensuring stability in a region prone to seasonal flooding and extreme heat. The builders of these colossal monuments clearly understood the interplay between natural forces and architectural design, creating structures that have survived for nearly a millennium despite the harsh desert conditions. The ceremonial aspect of the pyramids cannot be understated. Many of the largest earthworks are strategically placed on elevated ground, visible from miles around, suggesting a deliberate intention to awe and inspire. These pyramids would have been sites of gathering, ritual, and governance, the heart of Hohokam communities. The terraces may have allowed large numbers of people to observe events, perhaps religious ceremonies or astronomical observations, uniting the population through shared experience and reinforcing social cohesion. Yet despite centuries of study, the pyramids of the Hohokam retain their mysteries. How exactly were these massive earthworks coordinated and constructed? What was the full extent of their ceremonial and administrative functions? And why, after centuries of flourishing, did the Hohokam civilization eventually decline, leaving these pyramids to stand silently in the desert? Each unanswered question adds to the aura of mystery surrounding these colossal structures, reminding us of the ingenuity and resilience of the people who built them. Today, visitors to these sites can stand atop the terraces and gaze across the desert, imagining the labor, organization, and vision required to create such monuments. The Hohokam pyramids are more than historical artifacts. They are a testament to human ambition, technical skill, and the ability to thrive in an environment that would challenge even modern engineering. These colossal structures, silent yet commanding, continue to inspire awe and curiosity, bridging the millennia between us and a civilization that harnessed the desert to create something extraordinary. The colossal pyramids of the Hohokam remind us that monumental architecture is not the sole province of the Old World. Across continents and cultures, human societies have demonstrated an innate desire to reach for the extraordinary, to transform natural landscapes into enduring symbols of their culture, faith, and ingenuity. Each mound, each terrace, each carefully placed layer of earth is a story of vision, collaboration, and mastery over both material and environment, echoing across time to challenge our understanding of the past. The lost city of Thimlik Ohinga, deep within the rolling plains of western Kenya, lies an extraordinary site, one that has silently endured for centuries, a monument to human ingenuity and the complexities of early African civilizations. This is Thimlik Ohinga, a stone-built settlement whose walls, towers, and enclosures tell a story of social organization, defense, and survival that predates written history. For generations, the ruins have fascinated archaeologists, historians, and travelers alike, revealing a remarkable ability to construct complex communities from simple materials and offering a glimpse into a world that time almost forgot. Unlike the monumental pyramids of Egypt or the stone cities of South America, Thimlik Ohinga was built primarily of unshaped stones, carefully stacked without mortar, forming walls that have survived over 600 years. The precision and planning evident in these walls are extraordinary, considering the tools available at the time. The enclosures stretch over several hectares, creating a network of interlinked spaces, some designed for habitation, others for communal gatherings, livestock protection, and strategic defense. This arrangement speaks to a society deeply aware of its environment and the threats it faced, capable of engineering large-scale constructions with simple resources. The design of Thimlik Ohinga is both practical and ingenious. The walls form circular and rectangular enclosures, some with multiple layers, creating defensive fortifications that could withstand invaders and predators. The entrances are narrow and strategically placed, forcing anyone approaching to funnel through controlled points, making it easier to defend. Inside these enclosures, families could live, trade, and protect their livestock, creating a self-contained community capable of sustaining itself during periods of threat or scarcity. Archaeological studies indicate that Thimlik Ohinga was likely inhabited by the Ganga or the Abasuba people, though much of the exact history remains shrouded in mystery. Oral traditions speak of communities moving across the plains, settling in areas where resources were abundant, and constructing these stone fortifications to protect their people and cattle. In a landscape dominated by open savanna, where visibility is vast and danger can arrive from any direction, the decision to build stone enclosures reflects an advanced understanding of both human behavior and environmental strategy. The construction itself required remarkable skill and coordination. Stones had to be carefully selected and stacked to form walls that could bear weight and resist erosion. The circular design of many enclosures, a recurring feature in African stone architecture, provided both structural stability and social organization, allowing communities to organize themselves around shared spaces while maintaining defensive capabilities. The builders of Thimlik Ohinga understood balance, geometry, and durability, leaving behind a settlement that would endure centuries beyond the lives of those who constructed it. Thimlik Ohinga was more than just a defensive site. It served as a hub of social life and economic activity. Within the walls, families tended their livestock, prepared food, and engaged in trade and communal rituals. The enclosures were likely centers of governance and decision-making, with elders and leaders using these spaces to coordinate agricultural work, resolve disputes, and conduct ceremonial practices. The careful planning and spatial organization suggest a society with a deep appreciation for order, hierarchy, and the interconnectedness of daily life. The placement of Thimlik Ohinga is also noteworthy. Located on elevated terrain, the site offers sweeping views of the surrounding plains, allowing inhabitants to monitor approaching threats from afar. The stone walls themselves create a visual impression of strength and permanence, signaling to outsiders that this was a community capable of defending its people and resources. Even today, standing among the towering walls, it is easy to imagine the vibrancy of life that once existed here, a bustling settlement organized around survival, cooperation, and culture. Despite centuries of weathering and occasional neglect, Thimlik Ohinga remains remarkably intact. The walls continue to rise from the landscape, a testament to the builder's skill and foresight. Researchers studying the site have noted that even without mortar, the stones have remained stable, resisting the erosive forces of rain, wind, and time. This durability speaks to an intuitive understanding of materials and construction techniques that ensured longevity, knowledge passed down through generations of builders. Modern archaeologists continue to uncover layers of meaning at Thimlik Ohinga. Pottery shards, stone tools, and traces of domestic life hint at the daily routines of its inhabitants, revealing a community that was as focused on culture, religion, and social cohesion as it was on defense and survival. Every wall, every enclosure, every narrow passageway tells a story of people adapting to their environment, balancing practicality with symbolism, and leaving behind a legacy that bridges the gap between past and present. Thimlik Ohinga challenges our assumptions about ancient African societies. It demonstrates that monumental architecture is not the sole province of the Old World civilizations often highlighted in textbooks. Here, in the plains of Kenya, early African communities displayed remarkable engineering capabilities, social organization, and environmental adaptation. The site stands as evidence that the desire to build, to create enduring structures, and to leave a mark on the land is a universal human trait, transcending geography, time, and culture. Today, visitors and scholars alike can walk the ancient paths, tracing the contours of walls, and imagine the lives of the people who inhabited this remarkable settlement. The site is a bridge across time, linking modern observers with a people who understood the balance between security, community, and the environment. In its silence, Thimlik Ohinga speaks volumes, reminding us that human ingenuity is not limited by resources or technology, but by vision, cooperation, and determination. The lost city of Thimlik Ohinga is more than a collection of stones. It is a monument to human resilience, innovation, and the timeless quest to shape the world for survival and culture. Each wall, each terrace, each carefully stacked stone is a story, a record of a civilization whose ingenuity continues to resonate, inspiring wonder, respect, and a deeper understanding of the diverse ways humans have shaped their landscapes throughout history. The secret city beneath Mount Kailash II. High in the remote reaches of the Tibetan Plateau, a mountain rises with a reputation that has echoed across centuries, across cultures, and across continents. Mount Kailash, revered by Hindus, Buddhists, Jains, and Bon practitioners alike, is more than just a sacred peak. For millennia, it has been a magnet for legends, spiritual pilgrimages, and unexplained mysteries. And yet, hidden beneath its towering slopes lies a secret that has only recently begun to emerge from the shadows of myth and speculation. A hidden city, a network of caves, and a labyrinthine complex of stone chambers, carved and arranged with a precision that defies conventional understanding. Satellite imagery and ground surveys have revealed anomalies that suggest there is more to Mount Kailash than the eye can see. Patterns etched into the rock, terraces cut into seemingly inaccessible cliffs, and formations resembling walls and gateways have raised questions among archaeologists and explorers. Could there truly be a subterranean city beneath one of the most sacred mountains in the world? If so, what was its purpose? Who built it? And why hide it in such a forbidding location? The first clues came not from explorers, but from the skies. High-resolution satellite scans showed linear formations and clusters of caves that aligned in ways that could not be attributed to natural erosion alone. Some caves are positioned to capture sunlight at specific times of the year, while others appear to align with cardinal directions or astronomical markers. These are not random formations, they are the product of careful planning and advanced knowledge of geometry, astronomy, and stonework. Local legends speak of hidden realms beneath Kailash, inhabited by beings of great knowledge, places where the physical and spiritual worlds converge. Ancient texts reference underground sanctuaries, labyrinths designed to protect sacred knowledge, and chambers filled with treasures and artifacts. While skeptics dismiss these stories as myth, the physical evidence suggests that there may be a kernel of truth at their core, a hidden complex deliberately built to remain unseen by outsiders, preserved by the mountain itself. Explorers who have dared to enter the lower caves describe vast chambers carved entirely from the mountain's solid rock. Stalactites and stalagmites intertwine with human-made formations, creating natural fortifications that are difficult to navigate. Some tunnels twist and turn with such complexity that only those with intimate knowledge of the layout could move through them safely. The builders seem to understand not just architecture, but psychology, designing spaces to disorient, protect, and perhaps even test the determination of those who sought entry. Evidence of human habitation has been found inside some of the accessible caves. Fire pits, stone platforms, and rudimentary carvings on walls. The markings suggest ceremonial practices, communal gatherings, and perhaps a connection to astronomical observation. Yet the true scale of the city remains elusive. The inaccessible chambers, hidden deep within the mountain, may hold artifacts, writings, or technology lost to time. Some theorists speculate that Mount Kailash was chosen as a protective sanctuary precisely because of its extreme altitude, harsh climate, and sacred status, a natural shield for those who sought to hide their knowledge from the outside world. The design of these subterranean spaces is astonishing. Large halls open into smaller chambers, connected by corridors cut with incredible precision. Many of the walls and ceilings bear geometric patterns, inscriptions, and reliefs, whose meaning is still undeciphered. Scholars suggest that these patterns were not merely decorative. They may have been functional, serving as astronomical markers, ritual guides, or mnemonic devices to preserve knowledge across generations. Mount Kailash itself seems to play a role in the engineering of the city. Water channels carved into the rock direct melting snow and rain through hidden aquifers, providing a natural source of life within an otherwise forbidding environment. Ventilation shafts and openings allow airflow through chambers that lie deep underground, maintaining stable temperatures and preventing stagnation. It is a fusion of natural geology and human ingenuity, a symbiosis of mountain and architect that continues to fascinate modern scientists. The secrecy of this hidden city may also explain why so few have dared to explore it fully. For centuries, the mountain has been off-limits to climbers, with religious prohibitions preventing outsiders from attempting a summit. This reverence has inadvertently preserved the subterranean structures, shielding them from looters, vandals, and casual explorers. Those who do venture into the lower caves speak of a profound sense of awe, as though the mountain itself is alive, aware of their presence, and evaluating their intentions. Technological studies of the stonework reveal techniques that remain difficult to replicate even today. Blocks have been precisely cut and placed without the use of modern machinery. Some chambers are supported in ways that resist earthquakes, landslides, and the passage of centuries. The precision suggests an advanced understanding of engineering principles that scholars struggle to fully explain, raising questions about the knowledge and capabilities of the mountain's original builders. For many, the hidden city beneath Mount Kailash is more than a mystery. It is a bridge between worlds. It connects the physical, spiritual, and intellectual achievements of ancient civilizations. The mountain itself has long been considered a cosmic axis, a point where heaven and earth meet. Beneath its slopes, the subterranean chambers may have been a sanctuary, a repository of knowledge, or even a place where early astronomers and sages observed celestial patterns and recorded their findings. Modern exploration is ongoing. With drones, ground-penetrating radar, and advanced satellite imagery, researchers are beginning to map the underground network, revealing corridors and chambers previously hidden from human eyes. Each new discovery adds another layer to our understanding, but also more questions. How deep does the city extend? What secrets remain concealed in its deepest chambers? And most importantly, why was such a monumental undertaking hidden away beneath one of the most sacred peaks on Earth? The hidden city beneath Mount Kailash reminds us that human ambition and ingenuity know no bounds. It challenges our understanding of what ancient civilizations were capable of, and it beckons explorers, scholars, and dreamers to reconsider the line between myth and reality. In its silence, the mountain guards its secrets with vigilance, whispering stories of an advanced knowledge lost to time, a civilization that thrived in harmony with nature and sacred tradition. As the sun casts its first light on the peaks, shadows dance across the hidden entrances, hinting at the labyrinth within. The mysteries of Mount Kailash II continue to unfold, slowly revealing the story of a city designed to endure, to conceal, and to inspire. Its chambers speak of ingenuity, faith, and the enduring human desire to leave a mark upon the world, a mark that time itself struggles to erase. The hidden colossi of Quirigua. Deep within the lush jungles of southeastern Guatemala lies Quirigua, an ancient city whose grandeur has long been overshadowed by its more famous neighbors. Yet for those who venture into its dense foliage, the ruins reveal a secret far beyond what one might expect. Colossal stone monuments, towering stelae, and sculptures carved with astonishing precision, standing as silent witnesses to a civilization that once commanded immense power and knowledge. These are the hidden colossi of Quirigua, remnants of a city that flourished during the height of the Maya civilization, yet whose scale and sophistication continue to mystify historians, archaeologists, and visitors alike. The site of Quirigua is small compared to other Maya cities, yet it boasts some of the tallest stone monuments ever created in the ancient Americas. The stelae rise to heights of more than 30 feet, carved from single blocks of volcanic stone, their surfaces adorned with intricate hieroglyphs and depictions of kings, gods, and mythical beasts. These monuments were not merely decorative, they were instruments of power, commemorating victories, astronomical events, and the complex political hierarchy of the Maya city-states. What makes Quirigua's colossi particularly remarkable is not just their size, but the precision of their construction. Each monument was carved with an understanding of balance and weight that allowed them to endure centuries of wind, rain, and seismic activity. The glyphs themselves are meticulously detailed, demonstrating an advanced grasp of both artistic representation and symbolic language. Scholars have marveled at how the Maya could achieve such feats without metal tools, pulleys, or modern engineering techniques. The precision suggests a level of knowledge that modern science is only beginning to comprehend. Beyond their sheer size, the stelae are strategically positioned within the city. Many align with celestial events such as solstices, equinoxes, and lunar cycles. Some researchers believe that these alignments served as a calendar system, guiding agricultural cycles and ceremonial observances. Others propose that the positioning reinforced the political and religious authority of Quirigua's rulers, integrating their rule with the movements of the heavens. The intertwining of astronomy, religion, and power demonstrates the Mayas' holistic approach to urban planning, engineering, and cosmology. Quirigua's hidden colossi were crafted from sandstone and volcanic rock, extracted from quarries several kilometers away. Transporting these massive stones through dense jungle, across rivers, and over uneven terrain would have been a monumental task. Archaeologists remain divided on the methods employed. Some suggest that the Maya used a system of ramps, rollers, and manpower, while others theorize more sophisticated techniques, perhaps leveraging friction-reducing methods or water channels to facilitate movement. Regardless of the method, the effort required underscores the cultural and spiritual importance of these monuments. The stelae also served as historical records, chronicling the achievements and lineage of Quirigua's rulers. Inscriptions detail battles, alliances, and ceremonies, providing modern scholars with a window into the political life of a city that once controlled a significant portion of the Motagua River Valley. These narratives reveal not just the triumphs of kings, but also the complex social structure, religious practices, and technological capabilities of the Maya civilization. Each carving is a story frozen in stone, a testament to a people who understood that memory could be preserved for eternity through monumental architecture. Some of Quirigua's colossi depict supernatural beings, jaguar gods, feathered serpents, and other mythological figures central to Maya cosmology. These carvings are more than artistic expressions, they are embodiments of cultural beliefs, cosmological principles, and the spiritual authority of rulers. The integration of mythology, art, and engineering suggests that the construction of these colossi was not merely a political statement, but a deeply spiritual endeavor, aligning human effort with cosmic forces. Despite the grandeur of Quirigua, the city was abandoned centuries ago, leaving these colossi to stand alone amidst the encroaching jungle. Over time, vegetation and soil accumulation concealed much of the city, preserving the stelae while hiding them from immediate discovery. Only in the 19th and 20th centuries did explorers, archaeologists, and local communities begin to map and document the site. Today, Quirigua remains a powerful reminder of the Mayas' engineering mastery, cultural sophistication, and enduring connection to the natural and celestial worlds. Modern techniques such as 3D scanning, lidar, and satellite imagery have allowed researchers to uncover additional hidden structures, terraces, and smaller stelae that were previously invisible beneath the jungle canopy. These technologies reveal an interconnected network of monuments and ceremonial spaces, suggesting that Quirigua was more than a collection of individual statues. It was a planned city, designed to integrate the spiritual, astronomical, and political dimensions of Maya life. Standing before the towering colossi, one is struck not only by their size, but by their silent authority. The carvings, worn by centuries of weather, still convey a sense of majesty and presence. Each figure seems alive with intention, a guardian of history and culture, demanding recognition and understanding. They remind us that ancient civilizations were capable of feats that challenge modern imagination, blending artistry, engineering, and spiritual awareness into works that endure across millennia. The hidden colossi of Quirigua are more than relics, they are a dialogue between the past and the present. They invite us to question the limits of human ingenuity, the intersections of culture and science, and the ways in which monumental architecture can encode knowledge for future generations. In their shadows we find the echoes of kings and gods, of a civilization that sought to leave an indelible mark on the earth, and of the mysteries that still await discovery beneath the green canopy of the Guatemalan jungle. Through careful observation, analysis, and preservation, these monuments continue to teach us about a people who achieved greatness through ingenuity, vision, and a profound connection to the natural and celestial realms. The colossi of Quirigua remain as sentinels of the Maya world, silent but eloquent witnesses to a civilization that, in many ways, continues to inspire awe and wonder even today. The megalithic giants of Monte da Codi. In the heart of Sardinia, an island of rugged landscapes and ancient mysteries, stands a monument unlike any other in the Mediterranean. Monte da Codi, a massive stone structure rising from the rolling plains, has confounded historians and archaeologists for decades. Its very existence challenges conventional understanding of prehistoric architecture, revealing a level of planning, skill, and ambition that seems far ahead of its time. These are the megalithic giants of Monte Dakoti, and their story begins long before written history. The structure, often referred to as a stepped platform or altar, dates back to the 4th millennium BCE, making it contemporary with some of the earliest civilizations in the Near East. Unlike other megalithic sites that serve primarily as tombs or ceremonial circles, Monte Dakoti is unique in its design. Rising in terraces, the platform is constructed from carefully cut blocks of local stone, some weighing several tons. The precision with which these stones were laid suggests advanced knowledge of geometry and load distribution, enabling the structure to stand for millennia against the elements. Monte Dakoti is oriented in a manner that hints at astronomical significance. Some researchers believe that its alignment corresponds with the solstices, allowing ancient observers to track the movement of the sun across the sky. This solar connection implies that the builders were not merely concerned with construction, but also with understanding celestial cycles, integrating astronomy into their spiritual and communal life. The interplay between earth and sky, stone and shadow, elevates Monte Dakoti from a simple platform to a sophisticated ceremonial center. Excavations reveal that the site was more than a single monument. Surrounding terraces, smaller platforms, and evidence of habitation suggest a complex cultural hub. Monte Dakoti may have served as a gathering place for rituals, feasts, or astronomical observations, bringing together communities in celebration or in devotion. The scale of the construction, combined with the labor required to transport and assemble massive stone blocks without modern tools, speaks to an organized society with a shared vision and strong leadership. The purpose of Monte Dakoti remains debated. Some propose it was an altar for offerings to the gods, a sacred space where the people of Sardinia connected with divine forces. Others suggest it may have functioned as an observatory, recording the passing of seasons and guiding agricultural cycles. Unlike pyramids or burial mounds, it was not designed for interment, which makes its symbolic and ritual significance even more compelling. The monument is a statement of intention, a tangible manifestation of a culture's beliefs and priorities. The construction techniques employed at Monte Dakoti reflect remarkable ingenuity. Stones were quarried locally but shaped and fitted with an attention to detail that minimized gaps and maximized stability. Archaeologists note the absence of mortar in the terraces, yet the structure remains intact after thousands of years. This dry stone construction method, combined with careful planning and alignment, highlights the builder's understanding of both material properties and long-term durability. Monte Dakoti also holds a hidden connection to the wider ancient world. Similar stepped platforms appear in Mesopotamia, Anatolia, and the Levant, leading some researchers to suggest cultural exchanges or parallel developments in early monumental architecture. While no direct evidence confirms contact between Sardinia and these distant regions, the similarities raise fascinating questions about the spread of ideas, techniques, and spiritual concepts during the Neolithic period. Could the builders of Monte Dakoti have been part of a larger network of early civilizations, or did they independently achieve a level of sophistication that rivals more famous sites? The site's location adds another layer of mystery. Positioned atop a natural elevation, Monte Dakoti dominates the surrounding landscape, visible from miles away. This prominence may have served both practical and symbolic purposes, asserting the presence and authority of its builders while creating a focal point for communal and spiritual activities. From a distance, it appears monumental, almost otherworldly, evoking the idea of giants shaping the earth to reflect their vision. Archaeological investigations have uncovered artifacts that shed light on the ceremonial life of Monte Dakoti. Pottery fragments, stone tools, and evidence of ritual activity indicate that the site was more than a construction project. It was a living center of culture and worship. These findings suggest repeated use over generations, a testament to the enduring importance of the site in the social and spiritual fabric of prehistoric Sardinia. Monte Dakoti's survival through millennia is also a story of resilience. Earthquakes, erosion, and human interference have threatened its integrity. Yet the structure endures, a silent witness to a bygone era. Its preservation allows modern visitors to experience a connection to the past, to imagine the hands that shaped each stone and the minds that conceived such an ambitious undertaking. The megalithic giants of Monte Dakoti are more than ancient ruins. They are a statement of human ambition, creativity, and reverence for the cosmos. They challenge assumptions about prehistoric societies, revealing a people capable of planning, engineering, and aligning their structures with the natural and celestial worlds. Each terrace, each block, each shadow cast across the platform tells a story of devotion, ingenuity, and the quest to leave a lasting mark on the earth. As the sun rises and sets over Monte Dakoti, the shadows shift across its terraces, emphasizing the structure's connection to the heavens. In this interplay of light and stone, we glimpse the minds of a civilization that, though long gone, achieved a timeless presence through monumental architecture. The site remains a testament to human ingenuity, a reminder that even in prehistory, people aspired to shape the world around them with precision, purpose, and awe-inspiring scale. Monte Dacodoti invites us to reflect not only on what ancient civilizations built, but on the spirit and knowledge required to do so. These megalithic giants remain a puzzle, a challenge, and a source of inspiration. They are evidence that even before written history, humans were capable of extraordinary achievements, blending art, engineering, astronomy, and spirituality into structures that endure and continue to captivate all who behold them.